of this American League Championship Series, and here we are in Toronto. Kansas City Royals up 2-1 on the Toronto Blue Jays. And now welcome inside the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Joe Buck. Harold Reynolds and Tom Verducci are both coming right up. Well, it's back. The home run ball is back for the Toronto Blue Jays. They did it better than any other team in baseball this year. They pounded out runs at 5.5 per game. The offense woke up. They had 11 runs last night. They popped 3 home runs, and they got on the board. Now down 2-1. So to you, we're down to the 4 starters, which means we don't know what the heck we're going to get here today. And the names, Chris Young for Kansas City, R.A. Dickey, the knuckleballer, for the Toronto Blue Jays. What the heck are we going to see?
I don't know, but if you like the story of a long journey, today's your day. With these two guys, Chris Young and R.A. Dickey, they're the Iliad and the Odyssey of Major League Baseball. Combined 76 years old. They've pitched for 10 different teams, were teammates twice. Tonight, first time they'll start against one another. But what's really unique is the way they throw the baseball. Chris Young, soft tossing right-hander, 88, 89 maybe. And of course, R.A. Dickey, that knuckleball saved his career 10 years ago. Listen, they throw in a unique way, unique stories. I think this could be a unique game.
Okay, so while the play-by-play guy came on the air yelling and barking about home runs, it's not just about home runs for the Toronto Blue Jays, especially when you're taking on Kansas City. The Royals make a lot of contact. You need good defense, and this Blue Jays team doesn't get a lot of credit for it, but they may have one of, if not the best, up-the-middle defenses in baseball.
I'm going to go right up there and say up the middle, the best in baseball. And we're watching it firsthand. I mean, it starts in center field with Pilar, who's got a chance to win a Gold Glove this year. Here in Kiermaier and Trout is going to keep down those guys. And he's gone to get the ball. He's shown us what he can do this postseason. Then you look at Goins up the middle. I'm sorry, this young man's picking it. And Tulowitzki, 204 attempts now since he's been a Blue Jay. No errors in the postseason. They catch the ball, and everything starts up the middle. And I didn't even mention Russell Martin, so don't be upset at me. Russell Martin's Canadian. He's their guy, and he can play at catcher.
Always making friends with Canadians.
There you go, love that.
That's the Harold Reynolds way. Look, they're the experts. We don't know. We don't know what we're going to get, but it's Game 4 next on Fox. Or is that it's Lake Ontario. Lake Ontario. There's action in them there buildings. There's action in those streets. It's a great city. And they are fired up. And they were fired up last night. Why? Because in Kansas City, the long ball didn't exist for the Blue Jays. Well, they got home, and in their first home game of this ALCS, went deep 3 times in 34 at-bats. Even Ryan Goins was on that list. And here comes R.A. Dickey, the knuckleballer. Former Cy Young Award winner back in 2012 with the Mets, and then he got traded. And when we give you the guys he got traded for, you will think, wow, they give up a lot to get R.A. Dickey. It's 59 degrees outside. Inside, it's in the upper 60s. Harold Reynolds didn't tell me that the back part, the long skinny part of my tie, was longer than the front part, the big part of my tie, and people could see it on the wide shot in our on camera. Thanks.
I had no idea.
I thought you had my back.
I didn't recognize that. I would have told you.
I hate when that happens.
Here are the numbers for R.A. Dickey in the regular season: 11-11, but he had a really good second half, and he had a good start in the division series in Arlington against the Rangers, but did not go the required 5 innings to get the victory. He left up 7-1, and that didn't sit well with the veteran right-hander, the almost 41-year-old. 41 on the 29th of this month. And what's the lineup that he has to deal with for Kansas City? Escobar will lead it off. I bet he tries, or at least thinks about swinging at the first pitch. Then Ben Zobrist, Lorenzo Cain, Eric Hosmer, Kendrys Morales, Mike Moustakas, Salvador Perez, Alex Gordon, Alex Rios. Same look for Ned Yost. And away we go.
Well, Tom, knuckleball. First pitch, what are the odds he's swinging?
You know he's swinging, and it doesn't have to be a strike.
You could put that in the bank before we started. A knuckleball and a swing at the first pitch. A bunt. A tester. Donaldson fields it in fair territory. Can't make a play. And Escobar has got yet another hit.
What a great play. To bunt on a knuckleball, very difficult. But he moved up in the box. If you see where he places himself before the pitch, he slides up. You see him peek, but he also moved up towards the pitcher. And I thought, okay, he's trying to get the knuckleball. Look at how far off the box he is. He wanted to get that before it started to really dance. And I saw him move up, and I was thinking, oh, okay, he's going to swing. He felt something on the first swing. No, he set up the bunt beautifully.
What a series for Escobar. Strike 1 on Ben Zobrist. Verducci, did you think that ball was going to end up foul if Donaldson let it go?
It was really certainly close. I'm just still amazed that that guy is a leadoff hitter who's hacking all the time, has a low on-base percentage, and somehow it works. It's like a Feng Shui kind of thing, you know? But don't try to explain it. There's certain powers there.
Last night he led off with a triple and scored. Zobrist hits one in the air to right. Back is Bautista at the wall. It is gone. What a start for the Royals. A bunt base hit, a 2-run shot, and Kansas City is up 2-0 in a blink.
This is crazy. I actually was waiting to see what side of the plate Zobrist would hit from. 39 career plate appearances against Dickey. 19 left-handed, 20 right-handed. And if there's a third option, he probably would have tried that because his numbers are terrible until a knuckleball up.
And you said it, knuckleball up, that's what you're looking to do. He caught it perfectly. Ball kept carrying, huh, Joe?
Just flew out of here and was out by a mile. What a pickup Ben Zobrist has been. He ended up hitting .284 with Kansas City, popped 7 home runs. But when you talk, it's almost like as Cain comes up empty, a ball in a strike, he doesn't get credit for being as good as he is because he is so versatile. You say, well, you can move him around anywhere. That's his value. The bottom line is the guy's just a really good major league player and can hit. That's down and away, 2-1.
Great player, it really is. And the fact of being a switch hitter, the value you can't really place. He can do so many things for you.
Back in July with Oakland when he saw Dickey.
Kane takes ball 3.
Batted right-handed, went 0 for 4. In August with Kansas City, saw Dickey here. Batted left-handed, went 0 for 2.
He's 1 for 1 when it counts the most. 2-run shot here in the first inning, and now a strike. 84 from Dickey. Full count.
Well, he fooled him with a fastball. Just popped one in there, snuck it in. Now you come back with another knuckleball.
And a walk. Still nobody out, and Kane is on in the first. Back to the home run.
Well, the big thing, anytime you're hitting a knuckleball, you're looking for that ball, you start attacking when it's up high. If it starts at your waist, it's not going to be a strike. So this ball started about chest high, and by the time it got to the plate, you let it fly.
Mr. Gordon liked it. Still nobody out. And a ball down and in to Hosmer, and the Royals have a chance to jump all over R.A. Dickey here in the first.
And that was his first walk in 4 starts. He had been 22 for 22 throwing strikes on 3-1 and 3-2 counts. You see the quick move. This guy, you think, okay, knuckleball, slow to the plate. Forget about it. The last stolen base on R.A. Dickey was the 4th of July, and only 2 even attempted since then.
I think they'll attempt today. I'm telling you, knuckleballers, you take off. You take your chances. Russell Martin's got to sit back for one, wait and try to figure out which way the ball's going to flutter, catch it, and make a perfect strike. I think you got to run.
And they run on the hit and run as well.
There he goes. Throw down by Martin, not in time. And an easy steal for Lorenzo Cain. That's his second of the postseason.
It's almost impossible. I know he can hold guys, got great quick move, but he's off and running. You don't even have to worry about getting a great jump. Just get a good jump. And now it's on the catcher trying to catch it. Russell Martin had the ball run back into the hitter, have to reach back and make a perfect throw. Take the chances.
Runner at second, nobody out. 2 runs home for the Royals. Hosmer waits for a 2-1. That is into center field, a base hit. Kane will be held, and now he slides to a stop. And it's first and third, nobody out as Jersley put up the stop sign, and Kane had to slide to stop his momentum. It continues for Kansas City.
Well, I was watching Lorenzo Cain. He was getting ready to steal again. Great piece of hitting by Hosmer. We were talking about swinging there, but watch Cain. He's getting ready to go. Now he's got to stop and make sure that ball's through. That's why he doesn't score on this ball right there. The jump determines everything for the third base coach.
So now the batter is Morales, who hit a tape measure home run here last night off the closer, Osuna, in the 9th inning. That gets away from Martin. Here comes Kane. The play, safe. It's 3-0. Down to second is Hosmer.
They might want to replay this one.
They immediately looked in the dugout, but that was still a live ball.
Kane gets up limping, by the way, back to the dugout.
Well, remember, Kane hurt his ankle in the Houston series. This wasn't the greatest of slides. Watch Dickey land on him as he's putting the tag in. And Lorenzo's saying, hold it, something doesn't feel right. That's been a tricky play all summer because you have to get your foot on the plate. And a lot of guys, their foot is going over the plate. You'll see here, he's going to have to get the top part of his foot and bring it back down on top of the plate. And he may be out because of that. Looks like he's safe, but does the foot hit the plate? It's not like the other bases that are sticking up. You got to slap that thing down. And was it over the plate or was it on the plate?
Yeah, it's so close.
Look at him.
Be very difficult to overturn this because it does look like the spike does hit the plate.
It's kind of a cool scene here. As you're watching at home, all the Blue Jays are huddled at the mound. They're watching it on the big screen. You don't see that very often.
And Joe, the thing about the knuckleball, we know it's hard to hit when it's on. We just saw it's hard to catch. It's also hard to manage because fatigue not a factor, velocity not a factor, and the magic of the flutter can come and go. Well, John Gibbons already has his bullpen up. No outs, first inning.
What do you think?
I think it might be out because of the fact that his foot looks like it goes over the plate, but does he get the toe back down on the plate?
I think what you said, Tom, I don't think there's clear enough evidence to overturn it. The call's safe. I think it stays safe.
I'm with you on that one. It's possible that the tag got there before the foot down on the plate, but it's not clear enough. Clear, uncontroversial evidence here that it is a tag without contact with the plate. I don't know. That would be tough to overturn. Taking a long look, though.
Well, the other thing you got to remember is that they have designated every ballpark you have at least 12 camera angles, and obviously in the postseason we got way more cameras than that, so they're getting every possible angle that they have, and the longer it takes, guys, the more I'm leaning towards it being reversed.
Here's a call. Safe. And it's 3-0 Kansas City with Hosmer down at second. Still nobody out. It was a great effort by R.A. Dickey to come in. That delay at least allows more time in the bullpen to get ready. Although Hendriks is just casually tossing down there at the moment. Runner at second. Nobody out, and a 1-0 count on Morales. To the right side, that advances the runner. Goins gets the out and away. By the way, it goes down as a passed ball for that third run. Runner at third now, 1 out, and give us the 4 keys to the game.
Well, to me, A to Z offense means Alcides Escobar to Zobrist, and they got themselves off to a good start with that 1-2 combination. And for Toronto, on their best behavior, by that I mean with Chris Young, really have to be disciplined. You'll see a lot of fastballs up, but you have to make sure they're in the strike zone up and not above it.
Now the infield is in for Moustakas. Runner at third, ball 1 in the dirt. When we talked to R.A. Dickey yesterday regarding his catcher, Russell Martin, Dickey's been at it now for a long time throwing the knuckleball, and he thinks Martin's one of the best he's ever thrown to receiving that tough pitch. That's in the air to center and will be deep enough to make it 4-0. Tagging and scoring easily is Hosmer, and what a first inning here for Kansas City. As Moustakas plates a run, his 4th RBI of this series.
Well, I think the execution from the beginning, from the bunt for the base hit, how he moved up in the box, to the stolen base by Kane, they've done everything that you have to do against a knuckleballer to take it to him.
As you see on your screen, for coverage of this game in Spanish, please tune to Fox Deportes. 4 runs are home on a walk, 3 hits, one of them a 2-run shot by Zobrist. Strike 2 on Salvador Perez.
I'm just shocked, really. I didn't think they were gonna get to him this quick.
One thing they've done throughout this series is to be extremely aggressive, and you would think not seeing a knuckleball pitcher very often, a little more passive. Not the case tonight.
Strikeout ends the inning, but big damage done for Kansas City to highlight the 2-run shot by Zobrist. And now Chris Young, the 36-year-old right-hander, will head to work in Game 4, leading by 4. Organizations, Chris Young has bounced around to and from. He had a good year. Opponents hit just .202 against him, and he dominated right-handed hitters. He's 6'10", and the question is, can he get the Blue Jay hitters to chase the stuff up out of the strike zone?
That is the question of the day. The beauty is he's got 4 runs to work with, so he can be a little bit more fine than maybe if he didn't have that kind of a lead and force them to have to chase the pitch.
An infield hit last night, the only hit so far in this series for Ben Revere. Shows bunt takes a strike, 1 and 2.
Well, he's really a 2-pitch pitcher, Chris Young. 4-seam fastball, slider. Everything in the 80s.
That's down, 2 and 2. Well, here's 3 things you need to know. Degree in politics from Princeton. Offered a contract by the Sacramento Kings. He's 6'10". Randy Johnson, the only other pitcher 6'10" or taller to pitch in the postseason. How about that? Your teammates get you 4 runs, and you go out and strike out the leadoff hitter. Good start for Chris Young.
And that was interesting because he had that 4-seamer down throughout the at-bat to Ben Revere.
Well, let's say this. Edinson Volquez, as you look at this batting order for Toronto, same look. Revere, Donaldson, Bautista, Encarnacion, Colabello, Tulowitzki, Russell Martin, Kevin Pillar, Ryan Goins. The bottom 3. Here's Donaldson. Edinson Volquez changed his approach walking out of the bullpen toward the dugout before his game 1 start and said they expect me to pitch inside. I'm going to pitch away from these right-handed batters, and it worked. He was brilliant in game 1. You go out there, I'm sure, expecting Young to say up, 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 and he was down, 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 at least to Revere.
Absolutely, and even this at bat, you've seen Sal Perez set up with a low target. Typically sliders down.
Counts 3-0.
And he's throwing fastballs down.
Well, the problem with that, though, is his deception is when the ball's up. When it's down, then the hitters have a greater chance of hitting him because of the leverage in which he's delivering.
A 4-pitch walk with 1 out. Harold highlighted the defense up the middle for Toronto before tonight's game. The defense is outstanding for Kansas City. 2 good defensive clubs, and they have just 1 error this entire postseason. Gordon, Kane, Rios in the outfield, Moustakas, Escobar, Zobrist, and Hosmer on the infield. The catcher is Salvador Perez, 25-year-old rock behind the plate for the Royals. Young in the middle of it. Here's Bautista, who could slice the lead in half. Strike 1. I've seen him do that a few times.
Well, what you're doing a lot of times when you're looking at a bunt like that, everybody's freaking out. Oh, he's bunting. No, it helps you track the ball a little bit better. It's instead of just taking a pitch to stand there, track it, give your eyes a chance to see it.
Unloaded, but now in the hole 0-2.
That's the pitch.
Again, Perez wanted that down, but it is such a different angle where the ball is coming from. 6'10" with a high release point.
Chris has been through multiple shoulder injuries. Found out at the end of surgeries and all the rehab, it was really more of a nerve problem. Feels good right now. The 0-2 pitch. Ball 1. The 4 runs scored by the Royals was the most ever in the top of the first of an ALCS game.
I think we've seen 2 clubs that have just woke up yesterday on the offensive side. You get the feeling that the 4 runs are not going to hold up. It's not going to be enough.
Yes. One on, 1 out. Yeah, got him on the inside part. Bautista knew it. 2 strikeouts in the first.
Cutter right there.
This is the slider. This is like Bizarro Day. 2 sliders up, and the 4-seamers have been down. I'm not sure if that one was by design, but backup breaking ball just froze Batista.
Yeah, if you could bottle that pitch, you would make millions on a backup slider, because as a hitter, you're seeing the spin. Batista's expected to break out, doesn't.
Donaldson takes off. He is safe. Stays on the bag. Stolen base. First steal of the postseason for Josh.
Element of surprise, right? I think he caught everybody off guard that he even went.
You see how long it takes Chris Young to unwind that big body. 18 out of 25 this year with stolen bases. He had 1 year in San Diego. Base stealers were 44 for 44.
Great throw by Perez. Here's a 1-0 to Encarnacion. 2-0. Edwin already has 5 multi-hit games this postseason. A guy that has hit 10 base hits since October baseball rolled in. What's he going to do on 2-0? Unload and the count 2-1.
I find it interesting how Zobrist is playing now. Remember yesterday he shot 2 balls through that hole right there. They're trying to patch the hole. And look at how far over he is playing in the shift. Normally you'll see a second baseman maybe at the bag. He's all the way over.
And that one staggered Southwest. He's laughing about it, but this is a body blow right here.
Right into the chest. Salvador Perez is 25 going on 45 with the beating he takes behind home plate. He's so tough and he's so reliable. Man, he takes a lot of shots.
He gets hit more than most guys because he's so big. You know, he's a big man, 6'5", squatting down there. Plus, he's got a big body, so he's going to get hit by balls that other catchers are going to duck under and maybe skim off the top of the mass. It's hitting him in the chest.
Runner at second, 2 out, 4-0 Kansas City. First inning, 2-1 pitch. 2-2. And Chris Young could strike out the side here in the first. That would be some statement.
Good.
After getting 4 in the top half. Got him, and he struck out the side. Who expected that?
Not me.
Chris Young with a terrific start allows a walk and a steal. 4-0 Kansas City after 1. Switch to the Uncarrier today. By Chevrolet, find new roads. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Alex Gordon first up against R.A. Dickey, and R.A. has to hope that inning number 2 goes better than inning number 1. He allowed 4 runs on 3 hits, a home run, walked a man, a run scored on a pass ball. And then he saw his counterpart, Chris Young, strike out the side in the bottom of the first. 1 ball, 1 strike. And with that, Chris Young, guys, now has faced 19 batters this postseason and struck out 10 of them. Strike 2.
Tough to pick up. It really is. You know, we were talking yesterday, Joe, about Tulowitzki and Martin being back in the lineup and what that'd be like in most lineups 3-4. Same thing with Gordon and Rios. They're hitting 8 and 9. They could hit 3rd and 4th in a lot of major league lineups. That's the depth of this Royals team, and I think that's the difference with last year's team than this year.
Now a full count, and Dickey can't control that knuckler yet. To the shortstop, Tulowitzki. 1 out.
You know, it's what, 68 degrees in here today? With all these people in here, it might be the warmest it's been in the dome that he's thrown. And maybe the flutter's not there like it maybe if it was a little cooler temperatures.
Well, it's going to take somebody far smarter than us to figure out what the heat and the atmospheric conditions will actually do to a knuckleball. But the numbers are much better for R.A. Dickey here at home at the Rogers Center than they are on the road since coming to Toronto.
Yeah, he says he prefers the dome because obviously it's climate controlled conditions. He's relying just on the turbulence, the air moving over the baseball and the seams.
We found our guy.
That is hammered into left center field. Back at the wall. It is gone off the bat of Rios. And it's 5-0 Kansas City here in the second. That is the 55th home run he's hit in this ballpark. The former Blue Jay just blasted one into left center.
Well, I said it's tough to manage a knuckleball pitcher. Getting pretty easy. That leash had to get a lot shorter at this point. They are on it.
Well, the Blue Jays had Hendriks up in the first inning. Nobody's up right now as Escobar, who started the 4-run first inning with a bunt base hit, takes a ball.
It's a deep club. And you can have the thunder at the bottom like those two guys. All you got to do is see what teams have that kind of length in their lineup.
Once again, this has been an aggressive swinging team. They've raised that level here in the postseason.
Check swing, he went. Strike 2. You're talking about a guy in Rios who's in the number 9 spot, who's hit 25 home runs, 21, 24 in the big leagues. Here's the check swing that went for strike 2.
Ouch. That's off his knuckles, off the catcher. That ball hit him.
You heard me say that, didn't he?
Escobar.
Yeah, they hit me. Check on the swing? No, they hit me. Did he swing? They hit me. He can review it. He can review it.
You don't need us. That's the entire conversation, and Hunter Wendelstedt is saying you can review it, and they will. Well, first, at least ask for help.
Well, he wanted to check and make sure he didn't swing. If he swung.
And also, right now, Hunter Wendelstedt checking with first base umpire Don Sonia to see if he saw it hit the hand.
It hit the hand, then off the mask. So there's a ricochet.
So you can see why Wendelstedt wouldn't know. ball came back and took the mask off his face, but we're going to have an appeal. This ball looks like it grazes the knuckles right there, and it definitely hits the left hand of Escobar.
And a lot of people are saying, well, isn't the hand part of the bat? You know, so therefore it's a foul ball. But I don't. That's one of those old adages you use in Little League. I don't think that applies here in the big leagues.
So no doubt that the hand was hit. They review it at last look. They show it on the board here at Rogers Center. That should send Escobar down to first. Here's the look. Got him on the left pinky.
See, the difference is why he asked immediately, did he swing? If he's swinging, then that's a foul ball. This is a protection of getting out of my way is how you have to view it with a hit basket off the hand.
Yeah. You can check, please. Yeah. They hit me. Check on the swing. No, they hit me. Did he swing?
And it is indeed hit by pitch. And Escobar all over the bases yet again. He's been up twice. He's been on twice. They'll get to work for the Blue Jays out in their bullpen again.
I mean, again, the umpires got it right. And that's what, throughout the postseason, particularly we've been covering the American League. I know they've been doing it right. I love how they get together and get the call correct.
Here's Zobrist now. Homered his first time.
Right.
And when he went deep in the first inning, he became the first Royals hitter to hit a home run in the first inning of the postseason since.
It's gotta be George Brett. Gotta be.
George Brett, 1985 ALCS Game 3 against Toronto in Kansas City.
If you didn't know George Brett was the man before, now you know George Brett's the man. He's in everything. You're the man, George.
Here comes a 1-1 to Zobrist. And this start couldn't be going any worse for R.A. Dickey.
You know, it's interesting that shot of George Brett as Walker's going to come out and have a little conversation with R.A. Dickey. I think this just gives some time in the bullpen to get somebody warmed up. But George Brett, remember when they were struggling a couple of years ago, Tom, and he came out of the executive box and went down to be the hitting coach. And the results weren't immediate, but he really taught a lot of these young players to hit, how to relax in the big leagues and be themselves. And now you're seeing the fruits of his labor with Hosmer and Moustakas and Gordon and those guys he helped turn around at that period of time.
No doubt. He made an impact, still does. It's funny, before the game I was talking to Dwayne Ward, the former relief pitcher for Toronto. He said, even seeing George in the stands, I get nervous. Just remembering what it was like to face that guy.
Counts 2-1 on Zobrist. As Walker's back in the dugout. And a check on Escobar. By the way, the Royals have scored 9 runs in the last 2+ innings, going back to the 9th inning last night. And the Royals didn't quit, didn't go down quietly. They saw the home run that was blasted off the bat of Morales against Osuna. They get 4 runs in the first inning here, and 1 more at the moment here in the second.
Yeah, I think the shock is the long balls come along with the contact. Look out, look out.
Here comes a 2-2.
You talked about their depth, Harold. I mean, you can't tell where they are in the batting order. You know how some teams have to turn the order over to get into the middle. Well, it's all middle with this lineup. They can hurt you anywhere and have these last few innings yesterday and today.
Kansas City had 15 hits and lost here last night. It's the 5th time in American League postseason history that a team has had 15 or more hits and lost. 11-8 the final. 2-2 pitch. That is fielded by Colabello. 2 out. Down to second is Escobar.
Good decision at first. Get your play. Don't force anything and throw a ball away. Get the out. Nice decision.
Bring in Lorenzo Cain.
How big now was Young's half inning to kind of shut it down on him?
Well, yeah. I mean, you go out there and you're Chris Young and you say, well, here's a journeyman, a right-hander. They didn't even name him as the Game 4 starter until 2 days ago. And he strikes out the side. Yeah. It's big. Runner at second, 2 out. Cain, strike 1. Here comes the 0-1. Corralled by Martin. 1 ball, 1 strike.
It's hard to remember Kansas City taking a strike. If it's near the zone, especially in the zone, they're hacking.
Think about where Kansas City was in Game 4 in Houston in the division series, down 6-2 in the 8th, and then went off.
Yeah, incredible. And you see now why they have the ability to do that. This lineup is, as we've been talking about, is deeper than most people give it credit. And so when you're able to have that good of hitters in a row, you can run off a streak like that.
They were down 2 games to 1 on the verge of elimination. Wade Davis took care of the rest. Here they are up 2 games to 1 and leading today 5-0. Here comes a 2-2.
What's concerning to me is R.A. Dickey's not getting any swing and misses with his knuckleball. Usually a knuckler gets you to 2 strikes. He throws a nasty one that is almost near impossible to hit.
Another 2-2 pitch. It's down, a full count. If Cain were to reach here, I just don't see the Blue Jays going anymore with Dickey.
I'm with you. You see Gibbons agonizing.
What's it going to be on 3 and 2? It's a walk. 2 on, 2 out. That's it. John Gibbons barely waited for Russell Martin to catch it before he came out of the dugout.
They just couldn't get Kansas City to bite on those knucklers down. And when they were up, they got waffled.
He threw 48 pitches. He only had 5 swing and misses.
Liam Hendriks will take over. We saw him in the game last night. Here he is in the 2nd inning in a 5-0 game. Royals on top.
only 1/4 of a time from the minute it leaves his hand to when the catcher catches it. Actual rotation, it's a little more spin that he wants, is 3. Now spin also very important to Chris Young on the complete opposite end of the spectrum. He wants as much spin as he can. It's gravity cheating spin. In other words, that 4-seam fastball doesn't sink as much as a hitter expects because of that backspin. 21 rotations from hand to glove.
StatCast powered by Amazon Web Services. Hendriks, pickoff play, they got it. Didn't have to throw a pitch, and Escobar's picked off. Welcome to the game, Liam Hendriks.
Great play. He looked to get it. They came out, had a little discussion, make a great pickoff play.
Tulowitzki with the tag. Bottom of the second rolls in. 5-0 Royals on top. We're going to give you the trivia question in a moment. Chris Young struck out the side in the first. Now he's got even a bigger lead, 5-0, as he finds the inside corner to Chris Colabello. He's had a really good postseason. 3 hits in this ALCS, trying to get something started. Reaching for it. Escobar circles it. Gets it, one away. Today's trivia question, sponsored by Maytag, who are the only 3 Ivy League pitchers to start an MLB postseason game?
Ever?
That is a great question. You might need an Ivy League degree to solve it.
There's one of them. Chris Young, pride of Princeton. There's Tulowitzki. Strike one.
Again, you're seeing the right-handed hitter swing through that 87-mile-an-hour heater. Chris Young absolutely dominates hitters the first time through the lineup because it's just so unusual to see a baseball coming from 7 feet off the ground and the angle he creates.
way out in front of that pitch and in the hole, 0-2.
Now those numbers will go up second and third time around. But first time around, this is a puzzle that is difficult to solve.
R.A. Dickey, the starter for the Blue Jays, with the shortest postseason start in Toronto history. That's foul. In an inning and 2/3, 5 runs, 4 hits, 2 walks, a strikeout, 2 home runs. Hit a batter. A run scored on a passed ball. Through 48 pitches, as Harold said, only 5 swings and misses.
Yes, it was an ugly outing for him. I feel sorry for him because nobody wants to start a postseason game like that. Just when you wait as long as he has to be in the postseason. But that's part of the game. You know, the Royals took it to him.
And on the flip side, Chris Young has gotten 10 swings, 6 of those swings and misses.
Reaching for it, will pop up into right. Rios, who is homered here today, squeezes it 2 out.
Well, Tom, you were talking about first time through and not seeing Chris Young and really being able to hit him. The deception is when you see a guy walk up on the mound like that, looking like a giant, you're thinking he's going to throw 110. You know, I mean, it was easier to hit Randy Johnson than this guy because you expected Randy to throw in the high 90s.
Ball 1 to Martin.
Before you know it, you get a ball 88, and Martin's reacting like, man, ball's getting on you.
Hitless in this ALCS is Martin. 1 ball, 1 strike. And for Kansas City and for Toronto, this becomes a race here in Game 4. It's a race to that Kansas City bullpen. They are loaded out there, including Yordano Ventura, their starter. He's available. Here's a fly ball into right. Back is Rios on the track. Inning over. But that great bullpen for the Royals lurking down there, and 2 scoreless put up by Chris Young on a beautiful day in Toronto. 5-0 after 2. Kansas City on top. favorite team at the MLB.com shop. Third inning now. Royals bat. Heart of the order against Liam Hendriks, who did not have to throw a pitch. Picked off Escobar at second base after coming in and relieving R.A. Dickey. And here's a guy who is hitting mid-90s. Quite the contrast from the knuckleballer Dickey. Hendriks will have Hosmer, Morales, and Moustakas. For the Royals up 5-0. And up 2-1. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You know how big that pickoff was? You're looking at Hosmer and Morales with runners on first and second. I know there's 2 outs, but a ball in the gap is going to score 2 more runs.
That's how he got out of the second. Now out in front of it is Hosmer. Opportunity here for Liam Hendriks, who was busy out of the bullpen this year for the Toronto Blue Jays, but is left out of the late inning mix for John Gibbons here when it counts the most. Here he is early on.
And you know, Joe, the numbers do show when you bring in velocity behind someone without velocity, Dickey, the stuff plays up even more.
Jam shot. Tulowitzki got it. We talked to John Gibbons. First question was about the disappointment for Dickey, but knowing that his offense, he should believe, will kick it in at some point.
Well, Joe, and I'm not smiling quite as early as I was yesterday. That's for sure. But you know what? There is a lot of baseball to be left. You know, I thought he had great movement on the pitch. He really just couldn't command it, where that thing was going. And that was the battle for him. And, it's that fine line, you leave him in because we've seen it so many times. He might struggle in the inning, and he kicks it in and might go 5 shutouts. He just really got to the point where, I didn't think we could afford to wait any longer. Now the dilemma you have is, the guys in the bullpen, they got to at least hold down the fort because we're short in numbers down there, and certain guys you don't want to go to if you're down. So, but yeah, it's really going to come down to our offense like it always does, and see if we can get back in this thing.
Yeah, and real quick, just tell us what your guys are seeing from Chris Young so far when they come back.
Well, Joe, I mean, he's just, we've seen it before, and we haven't seen him a lot, but very similar. He can move the ball around. He keeps it down at the knees, and he elevates when he wants to. And his fastball plays so much better than the velocity reads on the board, and because he's so big and the plane he gets on, and there's a lot of deception there, and he's had a nice career, and he's one of those guys that just keeps hanging around and keeps winning.
John, we appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
Guys.
Certainly didn't have to do it with his team down 5-0, but he did. That's strike 2. Another swing and miss from Kendrys Morales, and if there's a phrase or a little term to describe John Gibbons, it would be even keeled, and they need that presence down in the dugout right now in Toronto to jump back in as Hendriks tries to slow down this Kansas City Express. Full count.
Well, it's important right here for Hendriks to get them back in the dugout, don't give anything up, and see if they can solve Chris Young.
Bottom of the inning, it'll be Pilar, Goins, and Revere.
Well, Hendriks is a guy. About a year ago, it spanned 10 months. He was traded twice and waived 4 times. Last year, he was throwing 91, 92. In September, he hit 99. We talked about the presence of Gibbons, certainly in play, but they need some length here from Hendriks.
So impressed with Morales. Being around him, how he handles himself, carries himself. Took a little while to get healthy. Talked about that a couple times in this series. But what a great hitter. And I got to give the Royals all the credit in the world. Great job of scouting and having patience.
Another 3-2. Morales grounds to first. Colabello. 2 out. Hendriks was with the Royals last year for just 6 games, 3 starts, went 0-2. Had been with Toronto, Minnesota before that, so as Tom said, he's bounced around. 26-year-old right-hander, Australian born.
Some guys figure out you're not a starter. Put you in the pen. And what they've done with him is let it fly as hard as you can, as long as you can. That's why the velocity's gone from 91, 92. We're trying to manage 7 innings to let it fly.
Moustakas takes a strike.
I can't recall velocity spiking that much in 1 year. I mean, 6 to 7 miles per hour up. He looks like a different pitcher to Kansas City.
That's when you start turning to somebody going, what were you thinking about?
1 ball, 1 strike. These are two organizations that are well managed from top to bottom. 1-1. And Moustakas out in front, strike 2, and Hendriks is trying to get a little bit of the momentum back here at home.
He's bringing the crowd back in.
Left side, Donaldson, a 1-2-3 inning. First time that's happened, because in the first couple against R.A. Dickey, Kansas City went off. 4 in the first, 1 in the second, lead 5-0 into the bottom of the third in Game 4.
You all right, my man? You're the toughest guy I know. The one you took earlier this year? No, I got on the side here, not the jaw. The jaw's the one that gets me. You got, yeah. Oh my gosh.
Kevin Pillar first up. And Chris Young has been pumping strikes. It's that 6'10" frame walked out there to start this game for Kansas City. Pillar 3 for 11 in this ALCS, and he gets one off the end of the bat, falling in a hurry. Shallow center. Escobar, 1 out. Once again, today's trivia question sponsored by Maytag, who are the only 3 Ivy League pitchers to start an MLB postseason game. There you go. One of them's broadcasting for TBS, and he'll be there for Game 3 tonight at Wrigley Field.
The Yaley.
I had 2 of the 3, but I forgot about Jim Beattie. Zelma played with him in Seattle. Chris Young at Princeton. Princeton coach Scott Bradley, I played with in Seattle. He was a catcher, and he is still the coach at Princeton. I think in the postseason they had Venable at Texas. Chris Young.
Ross Ollendorf, also with Texas.
How come Ollendorf wasn't in that list? He didn't start a Major League
start postseason game.
Oh.
2 sports star, Chris Young.
I asked him, when was the last time you played basketball? He said, well, with kids I don't get out as much. But he quit playing recreationally because, well, you see a 6'10" guy, of course you're going to go at him and try to dunk on him, right, or something.
Here's a 1-2. Goins flares one. That might drop. Left center field. It's in for a base hit. First base hit of the game for the Blue Jays. It belongs to Ryan Goins.
Goins has it going on right now. But finishing the basketball point with Chris Young real quick. I mean, you think about it. You see a guy 6'10" on a basketball court. Everybody thinks they can score on him. He just said it was too competitive and everybody going at him. He hurt his ankle and said, that's it. I can't play anymore if I want to continue doing my real job, which is pitching in the big league.
He lives by the mantra that this game owes you nothing. He's worked hard to get to this point, rehabilitated after multiple shoulder surgeries. One of the most likable guys you'll ever run across. And here he is leading 5-0 in Game 4 of the ALCS, trying to get his team up 3-1. Here's Revere. Ball 1.
And if you're the Jays, this is where you make a move. You get your 9-hitter on. You got the top of the order. You're probably going to avoid a double play ball. And then you got Donaldson sitting in the on-deck circle. So one swing puts you back in it real quick. This is your inning to make hay a little bit.
Get into the thunder next. As Harold said, not just Donaldson, but Batista and Encarnacion. See if that hit by Goins starts something. It's 3-0 now on Revere. He'll be taking on 3-0.
Yes, he will. He should be taking 3-1.
If he doesn't, John Gibbons may chase him down to first. That missed. Ball 4, 2 on, 1 out.
Second time around, Joe. Let's see what the lineup does. Josh Donaldson, 1 for 16 in his career against Chris Young.
Walked his first time. Homered here last night. Another one that gets Salvador Perez. Shoulder, so Hunter Wendelstedt gives him a moment. They've already had a conversation about how many times he's been hit. Wow. Saw that little smile on the face of Wendelstedt. He feels his pain. 0-1. The count on Donaldson. 2 on, 1 out.
You know how you have a teacher, and they say, man, I love this kid. He's a great kid. I feel like that with Donaldson. You spend time around him. I love this guy, man. He's so exciting, fun to be around, loves the game, smart. I just feel like he's going to do something big every time he goes to the plate.
Good pitch by Young, strike 2. Coming into this game, the big bats, at least some of them for Toronto. And now we add today's numbers. Bautista, Donaldson, and Tulowitzki. Look at that bottom line. Combined 6 for 45. No RBIs, let alone home runs.
Chris Young does a great job of reading swings, whether a hitter's looking up or down.
2-2.
Right there, he was reacting to Donaldson chasing the slider down, tried to go up the ladder with the fastball and missed again.
And that was a waste pitch. You know, changes eye level. I think he's going to try to go with that slider and get him out.
Full count. Legs bouncing for pitching coach Dave Island. It's getting tight in a 5-run game. It's a big pitch.
You know it's a good offense when you feel like 5-0 is 2-0. You know, scary feeling.
Game's only in the 3rd inning, but this is a big at bat. Another 3-2 delivery from Young to Donaldson. Hammered into the corner. It is foul. And there's not a lot of room down there. Could not have been fouled by much. It leaves our view into that corner. Just banged off that side wall.
And Sal Perez wants to talk to Chris Young about this pitch. That's 2 fastballs up at 3-2. Chris Young doesn't have a lot of places to go to put away a hitter. The slider and the fastball up. I'd be surprised if he throws Josh Donaldson a 3rd fastball up.
This is the thing I talked to Donaldson about. He said that the change with having Bautista, Encarnacion, those guys behind him, made him look for the fastball more than he had in the past.
That's into left field. That ball is fair. 1 hop and over the wall. It's an RBI double in a 5-1 game.
Did go to the slider. Full count, wanted to throw it for a strike, not a chase slider. Donaldson hammers it.
Well, he's hitting off the fastball and was able to get that slider out in front.
That ball hopping out of play. Saved a run. Here's Bautista. Strike 1.
Great observation, Joe, because the ball's in front of Revere, and he was full tilt. There's no doubt he was scoring on that ball. Tom, you called it. Second time through the lineup is going to be a challenge, and he's facing it right now.
And he can't get them to chase. They're seeing the ball very well right now.
Almost clipped him. Bullpen is busy for Kansas City. Hochevar. field line, slicing toward the seats, and untouched by Rios.
Rios made a great play yesterday, sliding to the stands, and here again sliding. It's just a guy that knows this ballpark. He knows it's a low rail. He stands up, he's going to flip over it. So you slide, hoping you might be able to catch this ball. Might be a good no catch right there. That's a run if he catches it. We'll see if it pays off that he didn't catch it.
Just stays alive.
Goodness.
Another one for Salvador Perez.
Well, you've got the combination of a big man behind the plate and a pitcher with these four-seam fastballs that hold their plane. He was just missing full contact, and full contact is on Sal Perez.
And he's only 25. You just wonder how long somebody can take him.
I've never seen a guy get hit this much in one game. I think a lot of it has the plan of a 6'10 pitcher and a 6'5 catcher.
304 starts in the past 2 years.
Count stays 2-2. Second and third, one out.
You don't usually see a pitcher in a windup with runners in second and third in this situation, because Donaldson's able to get a real big lead.
3-2. Back over the head of the pitcher. A run scores. It's 5-2. Over to third goes Donaldson as Revere crosses the plate.
That chopper had to be, what, about 10 feet high? 11? You're thinking about a guy 6'10" who's used to rebounding basketballs. He elects to let it go because he knows where his defense is at. If the ball kicks off his glove, the inning continues. You see him just let it go. He could have easily jumped up and skied and grabbed that. Understanding where the D is at.
Now runner at third, 2 down for Encarnacion.
And Joe, real quick point. Bautista putting the ball in play. We don't see power hitters with 40 home runs in today's game. Put that ball in play. It got him a run. They usually swing and miss or hit a homer, right? Big swing.
Encarnacion fooled, 1 ball, 1 strike. Edwin struck out his first time. He has 1 big home run this postseason, the game tire. The deciding game 5 of the division series. That's in the air to left. It will carry and end the inning as Gordon squeezes it, and the Blue Jays are on the board. They get 2 runs. They leave a man and trail by 3 after 3 in game 4.
I don't know. The one you took earlier this year? No, I got that on the side here, not the jaw. The jaw's the one that gets me. You got, yeah. That one you took, oh my gosh.
Two guys that wear masks and wait for pitches to come their way, foul tips to come their way, and Wendelstedt's certainly been hit by his share. That's a foul ball off the bat of Salvador Perez, who was involved in that conversation. I know we said it a lot last year during the World Series, watching Salvador Perez take foul tip after foul tip. That's happened again here in 2015. Nothing in one to count. Strike two, Ken Rosenthal.
Guys, you raised the question how long Sal Perez can remain a catcher. Well, one thing he has going for him is his incredibly sunny disposition. When I asked him this week about the beating he is taking behind the plate, he just smiled and said, listen, the position is killing me, but once the game starts, everything changes.
One of the most pleasant guys in either clubhouse is Salvador Perez. Set up at 0-2. And it stays 0-2.
You know, you can see right there also how high he sets up. Not just a big guy. Look at this. This is all during that half-inning break there. Smelling salts there, but he sets up so high with that big body. He's a bigger target.
Even look at Russell Martin right now.
Yeah,
and visualize Perez 2 times the size back there.
And I know with Detroit, Alex Avila had similar problems getting hit. What really worked for him was getting him into a lower target, getting the body much lower to the ground.
Aaron, he is under the watchful eyes of the training staff.
Yeah, well, Sal Perez may have such a sunny disposition. He is stressing out this athletic training staff. Sitting here watching head athletic trainer Nick Kenny and his assistant Kyle Turner. Every time a ball comes his way, they just start pacing and watching. Admittedly, they have told me it is a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. That body is just so big, Joe.
Here's a running catch by Bautista in right off the bat of Perez, who's 0 for 2. One down in the fourth.
Well, and you see the value of a hitting catcher just on the foul tips. You know, we've watched guys get hit in the hand, and we talked about Encarnacion's finger in this series and how hard it is to grip the bat. Think about what we've seen with Perez already. Foul, full swing from Donaldson in the hand in Kansas City. Foul tips today, and then you say, go hit for me.
Here's Gordon. Strike one.
Tough job back there, and I know Brian McCann of the Yankees is one to say it's so tough he hates leading off. Just don't have time to get yourself back to square.
That's why it's been so impressive to watch a guy like Buster Posey do what he's done in second halves of seasons. Most recently in that star in the postseason at the end of a long year, taking those tips. Those hands obviously come in more sore than any other part of their body.
And they've done a great job resting him, getting him out from behind the plate, whether it's a full day off or especially at first base. No such breaks for Sal Perez.
Here's a 2-1. Strike two on Gordon. Good rip.
I think the difference, though, the separator for Sal Perez is his size. And he's just bigger than anybody back there. I think it's one of the reasons Joe Mauer's had to move to first base. Joe Mauer's 6'4". You just don't see guys that big. Del Murphy back in the day. Del, you can go to the outfield. He's big.
2-2. Full count. There's nobody in that Royals dugout or watching back in Kansas City that doesn't know that the Royals have to go back to work offensively. It was 5-0. Now it's 5-2. The Jays with a couple of runs last half inning. 3-2. Popped up. Long run for somebody. It's Revere coming to get it. That was a fair ball. 2 out. Postseason continues tonight On TBS, it's NLCS Game 3 at Wrigley Field. The Mets and the Cubs, with the Mets up 2-0. And then we have Game 5 of this series right here in Toronto tomorrow, with coverage beginning at 3 Eastern on FS1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. A matchup here tomorrow of Edinson Volquez, Marco Estrada, a rematch of Game 1. It was won 5-0. Kauffman Stadium by the Royals. Volquez was terrific. Ball one in the dirt to Alex Rios. Homered his last time up. He's got 2 in his career against this Toronto right-hander.
This is as good a postseason and as exciting as a postseason in many years. Maybe it's because the new teams that are in it, the Cubs and the Mets, haven't been there for years. That infused 2 different fan bases and brought it back. Kansas City back again. Toronto hadn't been in it for a long time.
22 years. Rios into left center field, and it falls in front of Pilar. Does a great job of keeping it to a single as he cuts it off in the left center field gap. Rios 2 for 2.
And made the throw back in. Watch Pilar. He's playing him kind of shaded to right center. He gets on his horse, and now watch him knock it down, field it, and get it right back in.
Got a chance to see how bouncy this turf is. Great job of getting the body in front of the baseball. It's a big 90 feet he saved right there.
So the inning continues for Escobar, who's been on base twice. Was hit by a pitch last time up. A bunt single, his first time runner goes. Throw down by Martin, a stolen base for Rios.
Wow, what a jump.
And Martin came out of the chute too in a hurry, but Rios just too great a jump, off and flying. You don't think about Alex Rios being a guy that can run. He's doing it all.
I mean, these Royals have their foot on the accelerator at the plate and on the bases.
You saw it go and say, hey, hold it, let's check that. This is that chintzy call I don't like, Joe.
Where the body comes off the bag for just a moment. Watch this. Rios pops up.
He might have got him.
Those who have TVs here at the Rogers Center react as they see that.
No. It's not what the spirit of the rule was. I get it, but this has got to be addressed by Major League Baseball. It's hard to address, but the bag is there. He's got the bag. He's got to be able to get himself on balance.
I think that's the issue with replay, though. Once you go down that road, it has to be literal.
Yeah,
the spirit of the game, the spirit of the rule disappears because of technology.
The Blue Jays are seeing it on the board here, and they're all headed off the field. Even though there's been no call made. The Blue Jays are coming in to hit. But there has not been an official call yet on the challenge.
Watch this place erupt if they say safe. Is that influencing the umpire? I hope they're telling him back in New York he's safe. And he said,
So there you go. It's happened many times in replay. The clear stolen base, but he pops up. The tag stays on. And he's out. Bottom of the 4th inning. Blue Jays bat down 3. Chris Colabello fouled the first pitch underway in the bottom of the 4th inning. Tulowitzki and Russell Martin will follow. It's a 3-run game, 5-2. Chris Young back to work. We had a chance to visit with Ned Yost, manager of the Royals, during the break. That's upstairs. He was nice enough to come on. These managers have been generous with their time down in the dugout. I'm sure Yost was not pleased with that call out at second base on the review. Here comes a 1-1. We saved that discussion for another day. We talked about Chris Young, and we'll give that to you in a second as Chris falls behind Colabello 2 balls and a strike.
Yeah, it's one of those rules. You know, every year you tweak, you adjust, you go through things. It's, like Tom said, though, it's going to be hard to change it.
Strike 2.
Just don't know where to start with it. Where's the ground? Once you say, okay, he's on the bag, well, then what? Tough. It feels like 1-0.
Hochevar was up last inning as the Blue Jays were making noise. Young did a good job to limit the damage. That is caught by Moustakas. And here is Ned Yost. First question was about Chris Young limiting the damage in that 2-run third.
He did. He's throwing the ball well. The one at bat to Donaldson kind of got a pitch out over, but besides that, he's been, really, really good for us. Slider's working good. He's spotting his fastball well, and got the little broken bat hit into left center there, and then Donaldson's big hit, but really did a good job of holding the fort with 2-3-4 coming down there, and keeping that 3-run lead.
Yeah, we have been so blown away up here by how aggressive your club has been in this series, and it happened right from the beginning against R.A. Dickey.
Right from the beginning. Espy with a beautiful bunt. Azobi put the ball in the seats and kind of opened up just a little bit of a crack and ended up scoring 2 more. But, it's important. You score 4 in the first. You got to tack on. And, we tacked in 1 on the second. We're going to have to continue to do so.
Thanks, Ned.
Thank you.
2-1 leading here in game 4, 5-2. The count of ball and a strike on Tulowitzki. Left side right at Escobar. 2 out. And again, this is that race to the bullpen for Kansas City. And here in the 4th inning, Chris Young has gotten the Royals 2 outs closer.
Well, one thing he's going to continue to battle. 2 years ago, he thought perhaps his career was about to end. After throwing about 20 or 30 pitches every time, his arm just felt dead. Already had gone through 2 shoulder surgeries. Needed another surgery to repair a nerve in his neck shoulder area.
Martin takes a strike.
Came back last year and was the American League Comeback Player of the Year. Dave Moore, the Royals GM, signed him in the offseason. Base salary, $675,000.
Chopped. Moustakas. Good inning by Chris Young. That sends game number 4 into the 5th inning. A look at Union Station here in Toronto, where the Royals lead it 5-2. Today's telecast is sponsored by the Quesarito and Volcano Quesarito Big Boxes. Grab them at Taco Bell. By DirecTV, call 1-800-DirecTV. And by New York Life, here to help you keep good going. Before your fingers fall off running to Twitter, let's clean something up. Kyle Hendriks will make the start tonight. His second postseason start. He started against St. Louis in the division series to take on the electric Jacob deGrom. Kyle Hendriks went to Dartmouth. So that means that our trivia question, sponsored by Maytag, I will personally apologize to Maytag, was one guy short. We need one of those four guys to do some of that research, I guess, because that means that four Ivy Leaguers have started a postseason game throughout Major League Baseball history. One in this game and one tonight at Wrigley. Strike two quick ones on Escobar.
Okay. See, I was hoping he hadn't thrown yet, and then it would be tonight. And I'd say, hold on, they never started.
No, we don't even get out of it that way.
Nope.
Here's the 0-2. Go ahead and say it, Tom Verducci.
I'm just amazed at Escobar and the way you can't throw anything by. He's swinging no matter where it is. This whole game, the Royals have let only 6 strikes go by without swinging. He's entertaining.
The 0-2. Hendriks throwing hard, mid-90s since he came in. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I was reminded that, Tommy Hunter, when he was in Texas, didn't throw quite hard, and he went to Baltimore and he raised up to hit 100 at times in the game on bullpen. So you can see jumps in velocity when these guys go to the pen because they're not. What happens a lot of times with starters is they're sitting there saying, I got to get 5 innings or I got 100 pitches, and they're not letting each pitch fly. When they're coming out of the pen, it's basically, I'm letting it go every time until I'm taken out.
That's no throwaway shot there either of Yordano Ventura out in the bullpen for Kansas City. He's available. Here's one to Goins. Down on a knee, 1 out. So keep that in the back of your mind. Ventura, who is scheduled to start a Game 6 if there is one Friday in Kansas City. This is his side throwing day, and if they need a bridge to those power arms late, Ventura is out there and can be used here in Game 4.
Well, Ned Yost has that full complement of those winning pieces in his bullpen available. Just added another, as you said, Ventura.
Zobrist. Goins. How about Hendriks? 2 out.
Looked like he took a little something off that. Got Zobrist to roll over it. Look, you said it best, Joe. It's a race to that Kansas City bullpen. And you got a little bit of a window. They're already into the 5th of getting to Chris Young now. And you got maybe 4 or 5 outs left before you start getting to the heart of what they want to do to you out there in that bullpen.
Here's Lorenzo Cain. To me, the bottom of this 5th inning with Pilar, Goins, and Revere in front of Donaldson and Bautista and Encarnacion against Chris Young in the 5th. Before that bullpen, opportunity may await, and it may be one of the last opportunities for Toronto with the way these guys pitch out of the bullpen in Kansas City.
I agree, because then you're talking about the lineup turning over for a 3rd time against Chris Young.
Here comes a 2-0 to Cain. 2-1.
And I can almost say that Bautista, you get there, he's not seeing Chris Young. Not in this. If that happens in this inning, he won't see him again.
Three and 1 with Hosmer on deck.
And even though he's got bad numbers, I think the leash is a lot short.
So they've got Hochevar down there. They've got Ventura. They've got Duffy.
Well, and they got Rolls. That's what they had a formula that took them to the World Series. You're not going to get away from it.
3-1.
Got the dog out on that one. That's a 3-1 swing right there from a guy that you think isn't going to let the ball fly. What's this swing? A little cutter just cut away from him, but 3-1, he's trying to go in the upper tank.
One straight 3, and Kane can't believe it. Neither can Ned Yost. First strikeout for Hendriks, and on that pitch, we go to the bottom of the 5th. Bottom 2 in the order coming up for Toronto, down 3. Bottom of the 5th inning, Jays bat, Pilar, Goins, and Revere against Young. Strike 1. So here's Chris Young, who's been in the Pirates organization, not in the majors. Montreal's organization, not in the big leagues. Montreal, say that again. Texas, San Diego, Mets. Washington, not in the majors. Seattle, comeback player of the year. Now Kansas City, trying to get through the 5th. And he's ahead on the leadoff hitter here, 0-2.
Well, you see the bullpen getting warm already. The more he pitches, the more his advantage of deception begins to wane. We talked about as the lineup turns over. Why? Look where his release point is. Almost 7 feet off the ground. That's a big difference from what the Jays saw yesterday from Johnny Cueto. Hitters will look for the baseball coming out of the release point of the pitcher. They're not used to seeing one so high.
That's foul. StatCast, powered by Amazon Web Services, to give you the look at that release point. Pilar is 0 for 1, popped up his first time, and here's a look at that last pitch.
Just not used to seeing a baseball come from that point with that kind of angle. but third time around doesn't seem as strange.
Well, the other thing too is hitters hit out of the background. You always hear about the batter's eye and it's black in the dead center field. When a pitcher gets up higher, I remember Bruce Hurst pitching in Fenway Park. He had the high delivery. You lose the ball in the stands, and people wearing T-shirts because he's above the zone.
A strikeout to start the inning and a big one. That's his first since the first, and his fourth of the day. As we start the bottom of the fifth, Pilar 0 for 2.
Got him on the chase slider, down and away. Again, that's the reason why Ned Yost got his bullpen up before this inning began. Chris Young's stuff still looks plenty good, but with a full rested bullpen and knowing the lineup's about to turn over a third time, he is ready. He has to make a quick hook.
Here's Goins. He singled in his only at bat so far, and that started the 2-run rally in the third inning for Toronto.
That's why I have a hard time believing that Donaldson and Bautista and those guys will see him again. To get to those guys, that means there's going to be at least either a run scored or two runners on or something. They're not going to see Young again. Postshaver is hot and ready to go. That's a full delivery.
That's outside. It's been an emotional year for Chris Young. He lost his father, Charles, at the end of September on the 26th. Blues reached the Royals on a Saturday night. He was scheduled to pitch on Sunday. As Goins pops it into left center. Gordon is there, 2 out, and Ken Rosenthal. There was no doubt in the mind of Chris Young that despite his father passing away on Saturday night, that he was going to make that start on Sunday.
Absolutely, Joe. In fact, he said he heard his father Charles' voice saying, "You need to be out there," but he was still concerned. He wanted to honor his obligation to his teammates, but he also wanted to make sure that Ned Yost and his staff was comfortable with him pitching. That game was meaningful. Remember, it was late in the season. The Royals were battling the Jays for home field advantage. Home field advantage came in quite handy in the series, by the way.
Great effort here by Moustakas, but it's strike one on Revere.
And Joe, to cap it off, Chris did pitch the next day, pitched for the first time, started for the first time in nearly 2 months, and threw 5 no-hit innings.
Rosenthal did a terrific feature on that during our pregame show here on FS1.
And Chris Young has done above and beyond what they hoped he would do. He got the early lead. He's held on to it.
That's up the middle. Base hit number 3 of the game for Toronto. And we'll see if Young will face Donaldson. The answer, it appears, as Ned Yost makes his way out there. I would think the answer is no, but I'm going to wait.
I'll wait with you. I mean, he's going to give him a conversation, an opportunity, but I'd be shocked. Great job, Chris.
Well, remember, Donaldson had been 1 for 16 until that ringing double the last time he saw Chris Young.
When you asked and we asked Ned Yost what he expected out of Chris Young today in his office before the game, he almost came out of his chair and said he will compete. He's the right guy for this start. And Chris Young made that decision pay off. What a strong effort into the bullpen. That great bullpen for the Royals. Hochevar takes over in a 3-run game. Donaldson coming up. but should be awfully proud of his effort here today in Toronto in Game 4. Leaves up 5-2. Hochevar, the right-hander, takes over. 1 on, 2 out. Donaldson. Ball 1. Hochevar gave the Kansas City Royals exactly what they needed when he took over in Game 2 with the bases loaded. Didn't allow any more runs to score. The Royals bats went to work against David Price and got a victory. That's a foul ball for strike 1.
Well, Chris Young is a guy who wrote his senior thesis at Princeton while riding the buses in the minor leagues with the Hickory Crawdads. As impressive as that was, today was even more impressive piece of work.
Did what he had to do. He got it to this bullpen, and now we'll see if Toronto's bats can light it up again. Tall order. Hochevar. Popped up right side. Playable. That's Hosmer in foul ground, and Hochevar gets out of the 5th. And gets applause from Chris Young. 6th inning rolls in here in Toronto, Game 4. Royals up 2-1, leading by 3. Game summary brought to you by Budweiser. The Royals went off in the first inning against R.A. Dickey. 4 runs, 3 hits. There's a bug on the camera lens, or a gigantic bug on the field. Ball one. A home run in that first inning by Ben Zobrist. R.A. Dickey could not get through 2. Good enough by Chris Young. As he gets into the 5th inning, Hochevar ends the frame. Here we are in the 6th. Good work so far by Hendriks. He took over in the 2nd, guys, and he's been rolling.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. You know, we talked a lot about Chris Young and the Royals bullpen and all that. Meanwhile, tell them in check. and they needed to. Hendriks has been great. That said, I think he might be running towards the end of his rope, too, running out of some gas. We saw LaTroy Hawkins up earlier. I don't know if he's, yeah, he's up again. But he's running out of gas, and this is now the predicament they're put in when R.A. Dickey had to come out of the game so early.
Well, he has been a starter, but this is already a season-high innings for Liam Hendriks. Been efficient with his pitches, though. See right there, 50 so far to get 10 outs.
And depending on what happens the rest of this series, and if the Blue Jays were to move on, at least he gives John Gibbons another option out of their bullpen because he's looked good. They don't have a lot of guys that they can completely rely on, especially after losing their top left-hander and their former closer, Brett Cecil, who was injured in Game 2 of that division series against Texas.
Who's been whispered about thinking if they go to the World Series, he's going to get back. Get a big pickup if they need that. But you're right, they're shorthanded, and that's what Tom was telling you in the interview. A little shorthanded.
3-2 now. Hosmer strikes out, one away, and that's back-to-back strikeouts for Hendriks.
Changeup right there. You know, came in, he's going 97. This actually ends up being a little bit of a cutter, but it's 88 miles an hour. That's why I was thinking it might have been a change, but a little cutter down underneath the hands. Was able to get Hosmer to swing over it.
It's right where you want to pitch Eric Hosmer, right inside underneath the hands. Great execution.
If you can get it there.
Here's Kendrys Morales, who executed a pitch last night into right center. Ball one outside. He pounded one off the closer, Roberto Osuna. At that point, the kid, the 20-year-old closer, had retired the first 17 he'd faced in the postseason, and then bang, Morales got him.
We saw the impact of the Cuban players in the last 5-6 years now, and Morales was really one of the first guys that came over and really had an instant impact. And I think he really opened the door up for the other guys that we're seeing now with Puig and Soler and everybody else.
He was really one of the first guys, the most recent wave of Cuban players. And as we've talked about, we haven't shown that video of him celebrating a walk-off grand slam while with the Angels, but he broke his leg celebrating at home plate, and it's been a long road back, but he is back. Spoils a pitch. Here it is, May 29th, 2010. He won the game, did a leap at home plate, and broke his leg. Just shattered his left leg. Missed the rest of 2010, all of 2011. Left side might stay in play. Long run, Donaldson. What a play. 2 out.
I knew if it got close to the stands, he was going to dive if he needed to. Those are one of those you hope it goes into the stands. You see him pull Superman. He's coming all the way from shortstop. Now, you don't see a lot of third basemen be able to make this play, but I really attribute this to all the years he played in Oakland with the biggest foul territory of any third baseman has to range. He caught the ball. It's almost like line up at third in Oakland and running the ball down in a normal positioning distance. He would go get him all the time. I think that made him a better guy flagging down fly balls than most guys on the corner are.
That was amazing. His eyes left the baseball 3 times while running full speed and then into a slide. What a play.
Plays you dream of. All right, he goes up, he's like, thank you.
2 out, nobody on. Moustakas 0 for 1. That one is hit in the air to left center. Pilar back. Hendriks has been fantastic. Took over in the second and has been lights out. Before that inning started, showing his athletic ability, fun with his feet, then those feet carried him to that foul ball for out number 2. Bottom of the 6th, heart of the order coming up. Blue Jays down 3. Hochevar's first pitch in the 6th misses to Bautista. Bautista has yet to show his strength at the plate. First pitch was a strike called by Wendelstedt. Now the next. Fouled away and quickly in the hole, 0-2. And so now here's Kansas City with a lead. Chris Young got them the lead. The offense went after R.A. Dickey in the first inning, and into the bullpen go the Kansas City Royals.
Yeah, I think their aggressiveness, they came right after R.A. Dickey and got right to him, put them a little bit of a hole and put the Royals in a position where they want to be, Tom, heading that bullpen in the game now.
And Hochevar, right man at the right time, pitching to the middle of the order. Next 3 hitters 4 for 30 against him.
That's a base hit to start the inning on an 0-2 pitch. Second hit of this series for Bautista. That may be a big one.
Well, he had been 2 for 15 against Hochevar. Breaking ball just left up in the zone.
All the numbers we get all the time, when you start looking at it, it's over time. You don't know if it was when a certain guy was a starter and he was a closer in certain situations. So this craziness now they're getting into it. Almost throw those things out at times.
Strike 1 on Encarnacion as Kelvin Herrera gets loose. We're only in the 6th inning.
Yeah, we've got a long way to go. They've been shooting at the goal a lot, just haven't been able to get it in.
Late swing by Encarnacion, strike 2 at 95 from Hochevar.
I was talking to Luke before the game today, and I was asking him about, he had Tommy John surgery, how long it took him to come back, and he said probably about 15 to 16 months till he really started feeling like he was okay. No problems at all. It doesn't even faze him.
And they turn 2. Escobar, Zobrist, got them both. As Encarnacion bounces into a 6-4-3 double play, 2 out in the 6th.
And that's by design. He was looking for that pitch to get him to roll over one. Watch where he gets him in position while he's swinging. So he takes this swing right here. He's going to get his body out in front. Got the little rollover. Easy double play.
He knows how big that pitch was. This crowd was just trying to get back in this game. Quieted them down.
Now Calabello. Base is empty, 2 out. Crowd quiet, strike 1. Hochevar relieved in the 5th. Got a foul out off the bat of Donaldson with Revere on and 2 out. He's up the leadoff hit, gets a double play ball, and now deals with Calabello.
This is where I go back to the job Chris Medlin did last night. 2 straight games, the Royals starter did not make it through 5 innings, but because he chewed up 5 innings last night, Ned Yost has a full bullpen locked and loaded to pick up the workload today.
He can split Yost if he wants to. If Hochevar can get through the 6th inning, he can basically split those last 3 if he wants between Herrera and Wade Davis, because they're that well rested. Neither one had to enter here last night. We have a travel day after game 2. Left side, Escobar. Hochevar with a scoreless frame. And we go to the 7th inning of game 4. Royals will bat, leading by 3. Early offense by Kansas City, highlighted by a couple of home runs. 2-run shot in the first by Zobrist. Solo shot by that man Rios in the second. Kansas City has been riding the pitching of first Chris Young, now Luke Hochevar here in Toronto. As we go to the 7th inning, Royals batting up 5-2. Trying to take a 3-1 series lead with one more to go here tomorrow in the afternoon, and if necessary, travel day Thursday, Friday in Kansas City. Well, Troy Hawkins takes over. His final year in the big leagues, and it's been some ride. And Troy Hawkins says, I've been around a long time. That's usually a strike, but it's called ball 1.
Yeah. 20-plus years for LaTroy Hawkins. Started off as a starter with the Minnesota Twins.
That one's outside at 94 in the count. 2-0 on Salvador Perez. Liam Hendriks was terrific. 4 in the 3rd innings. 1 hit, 2 strikeouts. The rest, zeros. And the guy that got a hit was caught stealing. Here's a 2-0. 3-0.
He was sensational. He gave the team a chance to come back. Actually had me thinking about the last time Toronto in a postseason game came back from 5 runs down. That was that Carnival game, Game 4 of the 1993 World Series, 15-14.
A 4-pitch walk to start this 7th inning, and Perez is on.
It was actually the same day, Joe. Same date. October 20th, 1993. You remember this one, don't you?
I was there. I was at that game. Darnell Coles, best buddy. We went to watch him play with the Blue Jays. Raining. Remember that? Lenny Dykstra. Oh, great game.
Most runs in a World Series game at that point, and the longest, 4:14 time of game.
Were you doing that game, Joe?
No.
That was before Joe Buck.
That was not me for sure. I think that would have been Sean McDonough. Sean McDonough and Tim McCarver.
You know McCarver was doing it. He did like World Series forever.
Yeah. It was McDonough and McCarver, and so the world came to know Pat O'Brien. With pregame shows rolling on.
Paul Molitor leading the charge. 8-run inning then. 6 runs, 1 inning back then.
Back in the 8th of that game. Right now it's a 5-2 game. 1 on, nobody out. A 1-0 pitch.
Alex Gordon knew LaTroy Hawkins was going to have to throw him a strike. LaTroy wasn't happy about the first 2 pitches he threw to Perez, so he knows I'm going to get a pitch right there, and he went for the pump, pulled off it a little bit.
Now a 1-1. Inside corner, strike 2.
You'd like to be 40-something, still throwing mid-90s. You know what? It's time. I'm retiring. A little break a ball, drop on you here. I'm still throwing mid-90s. A great run.
Here's a 1-2. That's in the air to right center. Will fall for a base hit. 2 on and nobody out. A walk, a single, and the Royals are making noise in the top of the 7th. And here comes the pitching coach, Pete Walker. Give you our Geico in-game box score for Kansas City. They got after R.A. Dickey early. Escobar with a bunt base hit, 2-run shot by Zobrist, a walk, a steal, a hit, a sac fly, a 4-run first inning, a home run by Rios at the bottom there. Number 9 spot in the 2nd. He's 2 for 2. This lineup is so well put together, and they are putting together a 7th inning that could be a a knockout frame here for Toronto if they can get some runs crossing the plate. 2 on, nobody out, and Alex Rios coming up.
And LaTroy Hawkins doesn't really feature a pitch that gets you a double play ball. Not that it won't happen, but he's a guy you're going to put the ball in the air on.
And this is a tough matchup. Sinker slider guy against a great low ball hitter.
Blue Jays aren't sure what to expect. They're pulled in on the corners. 2 on, nobody out. Orioles already leading by 3. No sign of a bunt, strike 1.
Yeah, there's just some spots you come into your lineup. Alex Rios has been a guy that's hit middle of the lineup most of his career. So I don't think he would be a guy you're going to probably see drop a bunt. If it was flipped and Escobar was up right now, yeah, you'd probably see him move the runners.
Say what you said yesterday again, and that is that Ned Yost lets these guys play. And there are managers who will say, get him over if you want, drive him in, whatever it is. And Ned Yost kind of takes his hands off the steering wheel a little bit and lets his guys go play the game, and they have to enjoy playing in that mode.
No doubt about it. It's nice to be able to have some control over your game.
Hawkins needs a strikeout. Instead, a line drive base hit to center, and that'll load the bases. Perez had to hold, nobody out. A walk, 2 singles. Alex Rios out of the number 9 spot is 3 for 3. And here comes John Gibbons. And that's it for Hawkins. He faced 3, did not retire anyone, as Gibbons goes back to his bullpen up against it here in the 7th.
Let's look at Alex Rios. Here's the knuckleball in the first inning. He hits the home run. Let's go StatCast on it. That ball came in at 83 miles an hour. He provided the pop, leaving the bat at 103 miles an hour. And then the last swing off of Hawkins, he gets a little cutter, takes it right back up the middle. See how he gets underneath this and just pushes it on through with a beautiful swing. Got the perfect arc. He's thinking no double play. StatCast, Amazon StatCast is powered by Amazon Web Services.
Pinch runner, so Rios is finished, and he's got to be thrilled for a guy who played here with the Blue Jays from 2004 through parts of 09 until he moved on to the White Sox. 3 for 3 here in this game 4. 2 singles, a homer. Now the base is loaded. And Ryan Tepera takes over. Top of the order, Alcides Escobar. Infield is pulled in. Right now it's forget the double play. They don't want to fall any further behind. Tepera is pitching for the first time since the regular season ender October 4th.
The Royals pinch running, already going to their defensive team.
1-0. That's in the air to left center field. Well hit. Back is Pilar. He's got it. Everybody tags. Perez scores. Everybody advances. It's 6-2. And Escobar has had some kind of series out of that leadoff spot.
Gutsy tag-ups, at first base. I thought that ball might be in the gap. Great read by the base runners to know Pilar's going to run it down. Escobar drives it. This looked like it's going to go, but Pilar got back, and they all read it. Even the man on first base tags up and gets to second, Polino. So look at this right here. Escobar knows the run's scoring, and he sees the tag up. It's great baseball. Move them up.
Now the infield even closer in. Second and third, 1 out, a run home. Here's Zobrist, ball inside from Tepera.
Joe, this Royals lineup, once again, they do not concede strikes. Anything, any count that's over the plate, they're swinging. The home run by Rios was a 2-0 fastball. Dickey thought he would be taken. They don't concede strikes.
Zobrist is homered in this game, and now he launches one foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. Official caps, hoodies, jackets, and more. Celebrate with your favorite team at the MLB.com shop. So the lead has grown by 1. A chance for more.
Well, I think what you're seeing, Tom, with their offense, a lot of people, a pitcher wants to get first strike, right? And for a long time, for about a period of 3 or 4 years, it was take the first pitch, and you find yourself in a hole. Somebody had to change the trend and get back to the offense being what you're supposed to be on offense and taking it to a pitcher. And that's what the Royals have been doing. And I really believe that's why the strikeouts are down on their team. When you hit early in the count, you're not going to be striking out as much.
4 straight years have struck out fewer times than any other team in the big leagues. What a good block by Russell Martin as that bounced in way in front of the plate. 2-1.
Over. Oh, this will be overlooked, but this is a spiked split, and that's a tough ball to block.
Just to reinforce the point, 122 pitches, that's 123 they've seen tonight. Only 12 called strikes against this Kansas City lineup.
That one gets away and a run will score. It's now 7-2 as 2 runs have scored here in the 7th inning. And it's fallen apart here for Toronto in the 7th.
Well, there's just so much pressure when you go down 5-0 early. Here's a slider that bites in the dirt. Russell Martin again trying to get over and block it, just kicked off. But there's so much pressure when you're down 5-0 early and you know what they're holding in their pocket in the bullpen.
Wild pitch scores the run, and now another one that skips in. Ball 4 to Zobrist.
That's a tough assignment for the kid getting out there. Hasn't pitched in forever. Trying to hold this game, but once again, Joe gets back to the point. Ned Yost just has more options out there in his bullpen than John Gibbons in his.
Well, when you play from behind like they have, you got to be perfect. You can't let a ball by. You can't kick a ball. It just puts a lot of heat on you.
Now 1st and 3rd, 1 out for Lorenzo Cain, who's 12-game hitting streak during LCS play is in jeopardy a bit. He's 0 for 1 with 2 walks. Another that Martin has to dig out of the dirt, and here comes Pete Walker.
Yeah, just got to settle him down here. Just overthrowing now. Slow the game down.
Well, he's got to go back to a fastball and continue to throw everything off speed and continues to bounce it. But sometimes the best remedy is you got to throw a strike with a fastball.
That's the two-seam fastball. Just yanked it. It's a ball straight out of the hand.
It's got to be a lonely feeling out there for Tepera. He hasn't pitched in this postseason. Takes over with the bases loaded, nobody out. With his team already down 2-1 and trailing, the lead is bigger. See if he can throw a strike. 1 ball, no strikes on Kane. Kane wants to pound one. Strike 1.
That's a good take. I mean, he hasn't been close. You make him throw you a strike, and that one even questionable. He ends up painting it, but got the benefit of the call.
Two and 1. Mark Lowe now is getting loose for Toronto in their bullpen. Run so far, a charge to Hawkins. That's foul. 2-2.
Remember last year we were talking about Lorenzo Cain and what a speed guy. He goes and gets everything. Well, he's added power to his package this year as well, and he's become a real complete player. And we noticed that in Cincinnati at the All-Star game this year. I think that's why he was there. More complete than he was last year.
Full count.
That was a good pitch. Front door slider. Have to be careful. The power you talked about, Age, for Kane. All but one of his home runs, middle in.
Three-two pitch. Runner goes. Ground ball left side. Base hit. Another run scores. That's Orlando, and it's 8-2. And Kane keeps that LCS hitting streak alive, and the Royals continue to have fun here in Game 4.
Well, I like the aggressiveness. You're going to see Zobrist running. We saw this happen in Kansas City. Remember the ball that was hit that Hosmer was running on? It was an opportunity. It would have been a double play ball for the Blue Jays to get out of that inning. With the runner moving, now you got to make a perfect throw. Tulo's got to grab this and throw it to first if he can get to it. So it changes everything.
Yeah, you saw the infield depth cheating it a little bit from normal double play depth with the runner on third. Just didn't have the range to get to that.
Now Hosmer launches one into center field. Pilar is back. Tagging at third is Zobrist. Another run. It's 9-2.
They don't leave much out there, do they?
They just know how to produce runs. Sack flies, ground outs. They start the runner. They stay out of a double play. And it's just relentless. It's now a 7-run game here in the 7th.
Yeah, I think sometimes we have forgotten watching a lot of the baseball that's played over the summer where it's hit home runs or strike out. This is how the game was meant to be played right here.
Morales fouls one out of play left side.
And again, swinging early in the count. The combination of the team is a high contact rate and aggressiveness at the plate. And this is just steamroller time. One after another after another.
0-2 the count on Morales. 4-run first inning, 4-run seventh inning, with an Alex Rios home run in between. And now it's to the point where if you're Toronto, you're looking ahead to tomorrow, even though this game is only in the seventh inning in that matchup between Volquez and Estrada. The 1-2 pitch.
You might be looking even further than that, Joe, and we may see them stop the bullpen and really have this guy finish it, because you got to go ahead and try to give yourself a chance tomorrow and on through the rest of the series.
Yeah, that's where I was going with it, because typically you'd see Lowe try to come in and bail out this inning, or Sanchez, Osuna, save them for tomorrow with a hope of getting it to Kansas City. But the Royals are in charge here today and in this series as the count goes to 2-2 on Morales.
And that man right there pitched a fantastic game, a very different game, pitching with velocity away and up. Difficult facing the same team 5 days apart. He said he's going to stick with the same plan.
Here's a 2-2. What a rip by Morales. We'd like to have that one back.
Just so hard to put away these hitters. Slider left up, and you're right. Saw by his reaction, he wanted that.
Eighth man to bat in this 4-run seventh. Runner at first, Kane, 2 out. 2-2 pitch. Flipped in the air to left. Revere to his right, and the inning is over, but big damage done. Kansas City puts up 4 in the seventh. Time to stretch here in Toronto. Royals leading at 9-2. view from behind in that Kansas City bullpen, and they bring fire out from behind that wall. We've seen Hochevar in this game, and now we see former closer for Philadelphia, Ryan Madson. And he pours in strike one on Tulowitzki to start the bottom of the 7th in a 9-2 game.
Tom, I don't remember Madson throwing this hard in Philadelphia.
Another one returning from 2 Tommy John surgeries. You're absolutely right, though. I mean, he still has that killer changeup. Velocity is up. You know, Ned Yost wasn't kidding. Started this series, he said, this bullpen is better than last year because it's deeper. Showing off once again. What a job by Hochevar.
Orlando stays in the game after pinch running for Rios, and Paulo is now in right field. Madson to Tulowitzki. In the right for a base hit. Hochevar went an inning and a third, allowed 1 hit. The rest zeros. Leadoff man is on for the Blue Jays. It's Chevy Truck Month. Time to make a strong decision like choosing a 2015 Silverado today. Chevrolet is proud to be the official vehicle of Major League Baseball. Here's Russell Martin. Martin figures to be on the bench to start the game tomorrow with Marco Estrada pitching. He throws to Deanna Navarro.
They've done a nice job of frustrating Russell Martin in this series. Getting ahead of him. It seems like when you're struggling, you look up and you're 0-1, 0-2 every at bat. And that's what they've been able to do to him. 0 for 7 in the series.
There's Navarro. Ball 1 from Ryan Madson. Blocked by Perez, 2-2.
Wait for that changeup. Going hard. You know, when he was in Philly, I thought he was about 92, 93, somewhere in there. Now he's 95. We saw him as high as 97 the other day in Kansas City.
And once again, how about the job by Dayton Moore to find and take chances on some of these players that he signed as free agents.
Change up.
Chris Young, Ryan Madson, Alex Rios, Edison Volquez, Chris Medlin.
That's Dayton Moore, if you don't know who that is. Sitting next to George Brett. George is in the blue, Dayton in the jacket right there.
Hit on all of them, and in each case, stressing not just talent, but fitting into this clubhouse, the character.
A strikeout for round number 1. And Russell Martin still hitless in this LCS.
Again, it's tough to hit when you're down in the count every time you look up, and then they've been able to open that zone up on Russell Martin once they get ahead of him. Right there, a fastball up in the zone to put him away.
Here's Kevin Pillar. Outside for ball 1. Pillar is 0 for 2, 3 for 13 in this LCS. Every game we seem to be reminded of his range out in center. Madson, a barehand. They get the 1. What a play by Escobar. Great athletic ability by the Royals shortstop. And he walks the baseball back to Madson.
Actually, a pretty good play by Madson. I think it is a base hit. But even better play by Escobar. He got the bag. don't recommend this.
Got it in the meat of the hand, not in the fingers, and then made the throw. Good job by Escobar to catch with his right foot on the bag and get the out.
Again, they're just playing outs at a time. I actually thought that Madson might go to first base with that. Make the decision either way with a 7-run lead.
Here's Goins. .95 inside corner, strike one.
Wow. I mean, plus velocity with all these Kansas City pitchers. They just don't give you openings. I mean, normally so far 4 games, just 18 innings from the starting pitchers. That would spell trouble. Instead, they're in command because of all the options in the bullpen. How about 97 going with the 4-seamer up?
Yeah, and that's the difference. I mean, it's not only just the power, but it's movement and location. They seem to have great movement, or go up top like he did right there.
The strikeout ends the inning as Goins goes down, and 2 strikeouts in the frame for Madson. 8th inning now, game 4, 9-2. Royals having fun in Toronto. By the Ford F-150. Every other truck is history. By Budweiser. Make a plan to make it home. And by Cricket Wireless. Something to smile about. Like a postcard. This beautiful city. Toronto. Here's a ground ball up the middle. That's Tulowitzki, and a pick by Colabello at the other end. To rob Moustakas of a hit. 1 out in the 8th.
Well, one of the strengths of Tulo is he can throw from any angle. Right here, as he fields this ball, he saw it stay down off the mound. This is just off balance. I watched him during infield today. He probably takes about 15 throws from this angle, field it and get rid of it down low, and it's a nice pick at first base too. But you got to work on it. You just don't come out in the game and have it happen for you.
Salvador Perez led off last inning with a walk. It was the first time when he did that either side put the leadoff man on in any half inning since the first, when Escobar dropped down a bunt single. Misses outside. You're right. Perez back out there trying to eat up another inning and save the big weapons in that bullpen for Game 5 tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, this should be his game the rest of the way out.
That's fair, down the left field line off the bat of Perez. He will try to turn it into a double and make it, as the throw is wide from Revere. A one-out double. First hit of the game, just the second of this series for Salvador Perez. T-Mobile wants fans to share their passion. Be part of the biggest 7th inning stretch. Post your photos and videos with hashtag the big 7th and hashtag contest for a chance to win tickets to World Series Game 4. 1 on, 1 out for Alex Gordon.
It's kind of what the Royals bullpen does to you. It takes hope away. The look on the face said it all.
More action for Kansas City in their bullpen after Madson pitched a scoreless 7th. They don't want to overwork anybody today and have everybody available for tomorrow in what will look to be a chance as Kelvin Herrera gets loose. A chance to clinch here on the road in Game 5 with Estrada against Volquez. Here's a 2-0.
Well, it's about 2 innings ago, Joe, you basically scripted it out the rest of the way for the Royals, and with all the rest that they have, that's why you see Herrera. I know they're up 7 runs, but he's coming. Fully rested, come back healthy next day even.
Amazing. You saw Hochevar come in, throw 94, 95. Madson comes in 95, 97. Herrera up. You'll see 98, 99. And oh, by the way, Wade Davis with that nasty cutter.
That's ball 4, 2 on, 1 out as Gordon takes a walk. On base for the second straight time. That's the second walk issued by Tepera. Here comes Paulo Orlando. 0 for 1 so far this postseason. That's what he did during the regular year, and we've seen him late for Kansas City when Ned Yost has had a lead.
Well, he put those numbers up this year when they had some injuries. Alex Gordon went out with an injury for a while, gave him an opportunity to get some time. Rios was out with sickness, chicken pox, and an injury as well.
Right side base hit off the bat of Orlando. They will hold Perez at third, and the bases are loaded.
This is a deep team.
I mean, once again, swinging early in the count. I know I'm repeating myself here, but this is the way they play baseball. There's been a lot of attention in recent years to driving up pitch counts, getting deep in the counts. Royals have no use for that. First thing they like, they're hacking.
Well, they're a very old school team, and old school was like, let's get in their pen, beat them up. What's wrong with knocking a starter out of the game instead of waiting for him to dictate when he wants to leave?
Now Lowe will have to get loose again. Gibbons looking for outs. Here's Escobar, and he goes after the first pitch. It is no signal. They're saying catch. Tagging and scoring is Perez to make it 10-2. And we'll get another look at that.
What happens if this is a short hop?
Well, you saw Laz Diaz, the left field umpire, rotate over to make a call. He's looking at a distance to the ball here. And he did get the glove underneath it.
Good ball. And a sac fly by Escobar in his second straight plate appearance.
I'll tell you, this guy's ridiculous in center field. I mean, He is, maybe we've seen all his best games, but he has been incredible in center.
Now runners at first and second, 2 out here in the 8th. A run in, a 10-2 game, and a strike to Zobrist.
Yeah, Pilar told me he plays center field like a wide receiver in football. Straight line to the ball, leaves his feet, he knows he has it. I said it's more like a wedge buster in football.
Strike 2.
Doing it.
Look at the offense this series for Ned Yost and the Royals. 4 games, hitting .315 as a group. About runners in scoring position, 429. They've scored 29 runs.
I think what's happened with them is they've really been aggressive on the bases too, and they've forced action, whether it's bases loaded or infield drawn in, and aggressiveness like Tom's been talking about the whole time, taking away the secondary pitches.
Talked to Ned Yost before this series began. Kansas City talked about how long it took for the loss in Game 7 to leave his mind. He said, I thought it'd be 2 weeks, then it was 3. It was still there. The whole offseason went by, it was still there. We got to spring training, it was still there for the players. They came into spring training believing they can win and should win the World Series. They're playing like it. Zobrist on with an infield hit. The bases are loaded again. And then add to it, Tom Verducci, what happened in season with the additions to this team. And this is a much more dangerous club than a year ago.
Yeah, this guy right here, Ben Zobrist, a big part of it. We talked about the addition of Morales and then adding Zobrist, replacing Infante at second base, an even deeper lineup. Good call. Once again, these umpires are nailing all these calls.
It's Dan Iasonia at first. Got it right.
It's funny, Joe. I talked about coming to this game. I thought the key to the game for Kansas City, offense A to Z. Alcides to Zobrist. Well, how about for the series? Look at these numbers. They're 1 and 2 hitters.
Now it's Kane with the bases loaded, 2 out. That's up the middle. Another hit, another first pitch swing. 1 run scores. Here comes Orlando. 2 more runs on the board, and it's 12-2 Royals. An unbelievable, relentless attack. And that's going to be it for Tepera.
Well, you feel for the kid because he hasn't been in the same rhythm. He hasn't pitched in a long time. And he basically had to take the bullet for the club right here to try to give you a chance to stay in a little bit longer. Just didn't work out for him.
The Blue Jays bullpen is getting exposed. And it's the Royals bats that just keep on pounding the baseball. Aggressive first pitch swinging, leading 12-2 in the 8th in Game 4. Joined by Kevin Burkhardt, Pete Rose, Frank Thomas, Raul Ibanez, special guests Max Scherzer and Alex Rodriguez to bring you complete post-game coverage of this game. Plenty to talk about. Fox Sports Live immediately after our game here on FS1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. 8th man to bat in this inning.
Sorry, Joe. That was some lineup you just ran off there.
Put together a good team.
Almost as good as this Kansas City lineup, the way they're rolling.
It's Hosmer. 8 men went to the plate in the 7th for Kansas City. At least 8 here in the 8th. 2 on, 2 out. Lowe takes over. Strike 2 on Hosmer.
I'm just thinking, that's a lot of hits in that studio.
A lot of home runs.
Yeah.
Couple of no-hitters.
Frank's got 3,000 hits. Ours 4,256. Didn't know that, he'll tell you.
Runners at first and second, 2 out, and Hosmer backs out of there. Melvin Herrera still up in the bullpen for Kansas City. The 0-2.
He's probably hoping for an out.
I'm ready. Been ready.
The Royals win this game. Manager Ned Yost, who's in his 6th year, 5th full, to deliver the first division title for the Royals since '85. Will be 17-7 in postseason play as a manager for Kansas City.
All-time best winning percentage, at least 20 postseason games managed.
The 2-2. What a swing by Hosmer.
Ned Yost will tell you himself, he's a different manager. Last couple of years, listens to his coaches, and H, you talked about letting his players play the game. When John Gibbons was here as the bench coach, back then I really didn't listen to my coaches. Started to turn probably midway through last year. A lot of Bobby Cox in that man, Ned Yost.
2-2. Full count, the runners will go.
I'll give you one example, Joe. Johnny Cueto was pitching that game 5 against Houston, throwing a great game. He had Wade Davis warm in the bullpen, and he thought about, well, I'll let Johnny pitch the 9th inning. And all the coaches said, Ned, you've got the best relief pitcher on the planet ready to go. Get him in the game. And he did.
Joe spent 12 years with Bobby Cox in Atlanta. I know you're because of these swings.
Oh my gosh, he's on everything. But it's through, you don't see a lineup where everybody gets hot at the same time like this is happening right now. It's scary.
Runners will go again. Another 3-2 pitch. Strikeout ends the inning. 3 more runs put on the board. And the Royals have been having fun since Escobar led it off just after 4 o'clock local time. Bottom of the 8th inning, 12-2, Kansas City on top. Ball moments on Twitter and Instagram using hashtag PlayBall for the chance to be seen by millions of fans. MLB will retweet and regram some of the best moments on the official MLB social channels. Bottom of the 8th inning in a 12-2 game. Crowd is thinned out a bit. Kelvin Herrera will take over for Kansas City after an impressive inning by Ryan Madson. 2 strikeouts and a hit.
Well, if you're the Blue Jays, you know what you're going to get. It's going to be 97 or 100.
Drew Butera takes over behind the plate. Gerard Dyson is now in the game in center. So they get a little bit of a break for Lorenzo Cain. And, of course, Salvador Perez. Drew Butera, whose dad, Sal, is on the coaching staff for Toronto. Base hit up the middle. Revere is on to start the 8th. He's reached base 3 straight times. 2 hits and a walk.
He's starting to heat up a little bit. Well, it's not time to trick him. It's a big lead for Herrera. And he's just going to reach back and go it as hard as he can.
It'll make for some entertaining at bats with this lineup now. 2, 3, 4 coming up against this velocity.
Donaldson with a walk, a double, an RBI, a stolen base, and now a pop-up. Moustakas has to try to find it, and does in this closed roof. 1 out.
I kind of like the Royals' chances, Joe.
Do you know?
In the last 2 years leading after 7 innings, this is ridiculous. 155-4. That includes the postseason. Not all 10-run leads, obviously, but I mean, they're kind of redefining baseball with this bullpen.
In fact, Ned Yost talked about that. But a guy like Hochevar, Bautista swings and misses, is in a good spot out in the bullpen, and he could see other teams going to maybe those fringe starters trying to get power arms to load up the back end of the bullpen. And by the way, it doesn't just happen. I mean, Ned Yost has done a terrific job of pulling the right strings, getting the right rest, priming this bullpen for just being dominant from the 7th inning on.
Absolutely, and that a lot came into play this September when they had a comfortable lead. He was able to back off a lot of those guys. Big advantage as opposed to last year playing down the stretch for the wild card. Listen, in this series, Joe, the starting pitchers have thrown 18 innings. The relief pitchers, assuming the end of the game here at 9, 17 innings. Normally that spells disaster for a team, and yet they're in command.
So didn't have to use Yordano Ventura out of their bullpen in this game. Bautista able to lay off a pitch down and away. Ball 1. It makes me think of the Seattle Seahawks and the way they redefined the defensive backfield with those big corners. See a lot of teams trying to emulate what they do, that big secondary. That could happen as Bautista strikes out in baseball. The key is finding those guys. Guys like Herrera, Madson, a reclamation project, Wade Davis, who they got in the trade with Tampa Bay. Every GM's looking for one of those guys, let alone 3.
Yeah, and the big part is getting the guy to buy into it. Most guys want to continue to be starters. Like Trevor Rosenthal is turning one of the best closers now in baseball. He's with the Cardinals, right? After the first year, I want to start. You know, you hear it with Chapman all the time. You got to get guys to buy into it, and then you understand that it takes off. But I think it also has a lot to do with the pay scale. And similar to what the NFL did, they started paying linemen, right? So we started seeing a little bit more with the relievers starting to get paid. I think once the money starts to really start to turn over, you'll see guys say, yeah, I'll throw 1 inning as hard as I can and I'll get paid. Absolutely.
Encarnacion with Revere taking second. Counts 2-0.
Yeah, the other luxury, Joe, is not just the power arms. These are all platoon neutral pitchers. In other words, Ned Yost doesn't have to play matchup late in the game like a lot of managers have to do to protect their arms against opposite hitters. Yeah, they have Duffy and Morales in the bullpen now, but you run Herrera, Madson, Hochave, or Davis out there, regardless of who's hitting.
Holland, who's on the DL.
No stolen base for Revere. He's at second, 2-out, 2-0 pitch. Encarnacion flies one into center. Dyson can go get it as well. And he's there to end the 8th. 9th inning rolls in game 4. Kansas City on the verge of a 3-1 lead, up by 10. Get the strikeout to end that long top of the 8th inning, and he's back out there for the 9th. Kendrys Morales, then Moustakas, and then Butera. A ball outside. Morales not in on the fun, 0 for 4. He's got 4 home runs this postseason. That number ties him in a single postseason year for home runs by a Cuban-born player, Tony Perez, with fewer opportunities back in 1975, and Jose Canseco, 788. 1-1.
Speaking of Jose Canseco, I was here when he hit the ball into the 5th deck in the playoff game here against the Blue Jays when he was with Oakland. It was unbelievable. I was actually sitting up there because those are the seats Major League Baseball
right up here?
gave us.
That section? Is that the section?
Right. No, over to the right. Yeah, right in that section where you circled that. Absolutely. It was ridiculous. The ball just kept coming. I mean, you're coming in for batting practice and you watch guys hit balls. You think, no way anybody's hit a ball up there. and particularly in a game.
Yes. There's a 2-2. That's hard hit and under the glove of Tulowitzki into center. Hunter Wendelstedt is the home plate umpire, and home plate umpires are human too.
Everything's good. After the first inning, a couple of reviews, smash to the face. It all got better from there. And it's a normal day in my life.
He followed his father, Harry Wendelstedt, into this business. Hunter's become a terrific umpire, working the plate. Had to deal with a knuckleball hurling of R.A. Dickey to start.
That was interesting. The catcher followed his father. Played the big leagues for 9 years. He's in the other dugout.
That's Drew Butera talking to him. His dad Sal in the other dugout. There's a strike. Jim Moustakis. We were with Drew and Sal before yesterday's game, and he said, well, to Sal, your wife's in a weird spot. Had a husband coaching, son playing. I said, not that weird. If I know anything about a mom, she's rooting for her baby more than
you know that's right.
Her husband who's a coach.
Yes.
We'll see Drew hit. He's on deck. Outside ball 1 to Moustakis. Mark Lowe, one of the reliable arms out of the bullpen for Toronto, having to work here in a lopsided game. Still 1-2.
I'll tell you what's amazing is we talked about yesterday all the people thinking there might be signs given and all that. If anybody's getting signs, it's the Royals. Maybe Toronto wants to go out there and check the cameraman and see if someone's holding up the signs.
Leadoff hit by Morales, and Moustakis hammers at a high delivery.
They are on every pitch. It's incredible. Throughout the whole lineup.
It's a great point. It's hard to remember an off-balance swing by these Royals hitters. Maybe the top hand comes off, you get out in front, guess wrong late. Even the foul balls, they are on it.
You know what's interesting here is prior to last night's game, Kansas City Royals had won 9 straight LCS games dating back to 1985, Game 5 against Toronto. Rematch, albeit it's a long time ago. A swing and a miss, a strikeout of Moustakis, and now the roles are reversed. Back then in 1985, it was Toronto up 3-1. The series being forced eventually back to Toronto, and Kansas City came back to win. Kansas City did the same, albeit going home in the World Series to beat St. Louis. If Toronto does it, assuming this is 3-1 after this one is over, they'll have to flip that script. Right now, the Royals don't show any signs of slowing down. Strike 1 to Drew Butera.
Well, it always begins with the starting pitcher, especially with hot as these Royals bats are. And Marco Estrada has already taken the ball this postseason, facing elimination. Game 3 of the ALDS. And he took the ball into the 7th inning. The guy who was not in the rotation when the season began. Now the season rides on his arm.
Talked to him before tonight's game in preparation for tomorrow. He wasn't thrilled with the way he threw in Game 1. Decided to get back out there tomorrow and take on Volquez, who was terrific. 1-2 now on Butera.
Yeah, it's always the cat and mouse of the postseason, the quick turnaround. You see Volquez right there. Will he stay with his game plan? Will he be able to execute? On the other side, you go back and look at the game film, see what Estrada did. Will he change it? Will he hit the ball in the corner like he'd hoped to?
That's a tester for Donaldson. Bare hand and throw to get it. Good play, 2 out. Against Drew Butera, who drew a key walk in that big 8th inning. Game 4 in Houston during the division series.
You know, it may sound funny of a sentence, but Donaldson, I know he's got a chance to win the MVP. May be one of the most improved players in the big leagues as well. His defense has gone to another level this year. Consistent, he makes great plays, but the routine ball.
It's hard to imagine he was a former catcher. That play right there, just amazing the way he got himself into throwing position even before catching it with the bare hand.
We could be one base runner away from seeing a position player, Cliff Pennington, pitch for Toronto. He's up in the bullpen for the Blue Jays. We'd like to have something left for Lowe tomorrow as Gordon goes after the first pitch, as these guys have been doing all game long. Strike one.
I understand why they do it, but I'm not a big fan of it at all.
Rarely seen in the postseason.
Here's the 0-1.
I would rather see him expand the roster than see a position player pitch in the big leagues. I just think it brings it down to another level.
Yeah, I don't want to see any more roster spots because, you know, that's going to go to more relief pitchers. Plenty of those, although it doesn't seem that way to John Gibbons tonight. But I'm with you, Joe, on Lowe. 26 pitches here. You don't want to keep extending it. This could be his last batter.
Well, this is the result of Hawkins not being able to get an out and Tepera not being able to get through 2 innings. They had to bring Lowe in. That could take a key weapon away for John Gibbons in the setup role tomorrow. If the Blue Jays get in that spot, he'll have arrested Sanchez and arrested Osuna. Luke, their only left-hander, didn't get into that game, this game. But they're pretty thin down there.
It makes you wonder about David Price in the game tomorrow as well. I mean, they've done it before.
Good point. 1-2.
Another reminder, too, how key the injury was to Brett Cecil. He's been a shutdown go-to guy for John Gibbons. Of course, he was hurt during the ALDS against Texas. A calf injury.
Lowe trying to end the top of the 9th inning. Instead, he hits Gordon. That's it. Here comes Pennington. Close your eyes, Harold.
I am. Well, they've been close for a while. This game got ugly a while ago.
This guy's got a good arm for an infielder.
He's never pitched in the big leagues. So why wouldn't he take over in Game 4 of the ALCS? 2 on, 2 out tonight. According to StatSync, Elias, no true position player has ever come in to pitch in the postseason. And in this case, making history is Cliff Pennington. 91 for a strike.
Look at the faces on the bench there. Wow.
Not only that, I watched him warm up. He threw also a cutter, a slider, and a changeup.
That's adrenaline right there. There's a little slider right there.
Well, Paulo Orlando is the man at the plate. And a little levity for the Blue Jays. Maybe this isn't a bad thing for Toronto going out of the door here.
I want to see him shake off Russell Martin.
I tell you what, as much as I don't like it, the fans absolutely love it. And the game is the fans' game.
Here's one into right. That ball's going to drop for a base hit. They're going to hold the runner at third. As Morales stays put, the bases are loaded with 2 out.
Did you see how Morales had to come around the bag to stop? Because of that ankle injury, he can't slam on the brakes. He kind of had to come all the way around.
Well, Orlando is now 2 for 2.
Well, this is a big bet in the game, Joe. So let's break it down pitch by pitch. 91 mile an hour, two-seamer outside corner. The curveball up out of the zone. Comes back with the fastball. Probably should have gone to the changeup there.
What an honor that it must be for Cliff Pennington to have you break down his pitch by pitch. Here's Escobar, line drive into right. That's going to get down. 1 run scores. Here comes another. Morales is safe. In to score after Morales is Gordon. Over to third goes Orlando. That's 14-2.
Not too funny anymore, is it?
No. How about Escobar? He's got 4 RBIs tonight, 2 hits, and a run scored.
And you know what? I don't think he's ever seen Cliff Pennington before. He swung at the first pitch.
Surprise.
Now Zobrist.
I don't think Escobar has seen ball 3 the entire series, maybe even ball 2.
If it works, keep doing it.
Zobrist has been on 3 times, including a 2-run home run in the first inning. A 14-2 game. Popped up, foul ball. Martin is there, and that ends the inning. And Zobrist, who's been a tough out all series, fouls out to end the top of the 9th to get a cheer. It's after 7:30 in the East. Bottom of the 9th inning rolls in. Blue Jays coming up trailing by a dozen. Chris Young made the start for Kansas City. He will not get the win. Didn't go the required 5 innings. But on the list of pitchers who deserve it, he would be #1 on the list. It'll likely go to Hochevar. It's up to the official scorer, and those guys don't care about that right now. What they do care about is getting 3 outs to make it official. A 3-1 lead.
Now, could the official scorer still give Chris Young the win? I believe so, right?
Can't, bound by the rules. Got to get at least that 15th out to qualify. Like you said, Joe, they know how big that game was that Chris Young gave them. Boy, did he battle.
4 2/3, 2 runs on only 3 hits. Here's Colabello against Franklin Morales, strike 1. And what happened last night was the home run ball came back for Toronto. That's what they specialized in during the regular season. Hit more than any other team. Scored more than any other team. So deadly, lethal here at home. But the Royals, Chris Young, Hochevar, Madson, Herrera, now Morales trying to add his name to the list. Put the Lion back in the cage.
Well, that was the concern some people had. Fly ball pitcher against this lineup in this park. Chris Young, as you said, kept the ball in the park. And how about Ned Yost going out to get him? Remember, at that point, it's a 5-2 ball game. Josh Donaldson's at the plate. And he couldn't wait to get to that rested bullpen, and they have not allowed a runner to second base since then.
2-1.
I think the one thing that I've seen with Ned is anticipation. You know, he had Hochevar up early, ready to go. He knew what he was looking for, down away. He said, as soon as we get down to Donaldson, he's out of the game. Here's where we're going to go. And that's the experience and everything else that comes along with it.
From deep in the hole, Escobar looks at the ball and shows off his arm. 1 out. What's going to happen tonight at Wrigley Field? And the Cubs get on the board. DeGrom against Hendriks.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting matchup. I still think tonight favors the Mets on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, you would think coming in. That's 8 o'clock tonight on TBS. Series shifting to the north side of Chicago. We have Game 5 of this series here in Toronto tomorrow afternoon, again starting at 3 Eastern on FS1. Here's a base hit into left off the bat of Dalton Pompey, hitting for Tulowitzki.
Yeah, that's a cool moment for Dalton Pompey. Grew up in Mississauga, about 30 minutes from the stadium, right around here in Toronto area. Lives near the ballpark. Well, they thought he was going to be their center fielder this year. Started off slow at the beginning of the year and actually ended up back in the minor leagues and had to work his way back to the big leagues. But local product, great story, great kid. It's cool to see him get that hit.
Tom, you'll like this note, just because it's kind of quirky. Kansas City is the 3rd team in LCS history to score 33 or more runs in the first 4 games. It did not turn out well for the other 2. The 2003 Chicago Cubs, who were up in that series, lost to the Marlins. The 2004 New York Yankees, who were up 3-0. Obviously, after 4 games, up 3-1, and lost to the Red Sox as Ezekiel Carrera pinch hits, takes a ball.
Good example of how quickly things can turn. That Game 3, the Yankees won. I think it was, what, 19-5? Just blowing the Red Sox off the field. It was a formality that they'd close it out. Not so. 19-8 game. That was just a beating that night at Fenway Park.
True.
The infamous words of Kevin Millar: don't let us win 1 game. 1 turned into 2, into 3, into 4.
Right side. Zobrist, 2 out.
Well, that's the funny thing about the playoffs. You know, you go up like the Royals, you go up 2-0, and you come here with a 2-0 lead, and the pressure's on you from the choke factor. Oh, I can't believe it, 2-0 lead, and you lost the series. You know, that puts so much heat on you the other way. Now, I'd rather have that kind of pressure, but that's the conversation of the cynical nature that we live in nowadays.
You think?
Yes, sir.
Don't credit one team's success, credit the other team's failure. Runner at second, 2 out. Here's Pilar, 0 for 3. Strike one. Morales is a forgotten guy in this bullpen, but he comes out of the bullpen as he always has. Bounced around in his career, throwing hard. Been a part-time starter in the big leagues. That's up and away. 1 ball, 1 strike on Pilar, who's 0 for 3.
Well, it looks like the Royals, their experience last year, let them know how they want to set their roster for a postseason run. And it's almost like how they set it from spring training on. Here's what you're going to, the pieces you're going to need to get through the postseason. They've looked at every possibility.
One example of that is a guy like Johnny Gomes, who's on the traveling squad, not active. They had a decision. They could have had a bigger bat than that man, Johnny Gomes, who has found postseason success. And when he shows up, that team goes to the postseason. But because of the way their roster is, their lineup is, it's more of a we need a pinch runner kind of a bench situation instead of we need a pinch hitter. So they have 2 real speed guys on their bench. That is strike 3 and the game's over. A dominant game for the Kansas City Royals from the first inning on. And a 14-2 win and up 3 games to 1 in this 2015 ALCS. Hochhaver gets the win. R.A. Dickey gets the loss, and in a 3-hour, 39-minute game that saw Cliff Pennington pitch for the Toronto Blue Jays, it's all Kansas City hitting up and down their lineup. And they have got the Toronto Blue Jays by the throat here in this ALCS.
Well, it goes all the way to the first batter of the game. Escobar dropping a bunt base hit down, and they just took it to Blue Jays straightforward.
Coming in, it was the Blue Jays' power on the marquee. The depth of the Royals lineup now at play.
So impressive in October. They got to the World Series last year, the Royals did. They're 1 win away in 2015, a 14-2 win. Jay and Dan, all yours in L.A.